Welcome to the Rewriting Naruto series, a series of videos where I rewrite Naruto making changes to improve the story for my personal taste. This video is going to be a compilation of parts 35 through 38 of the Rewriting Naruto series, which covers the Battle of Crystal City arc, an original arc that I made for the rewrites. Please make sure you're liking this video to help me out with the algorithm, especially if you want to help the rewrites do well. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and ring notifications so you always know when the rewrites come out, and other videos as well. This also helps me a lot. And let's get going. Sasuke Uchiha stood at the peak of a familiar mountain. At a distance, he could see a place that evoked memories. Sunlight bathed Crystal City, the capital of the land of crystals. It was a completely different sight from the first time Sasuke laid eyes on it, for at that time a landslide had ravaged the city. Now Crystal City was a beacon amidst a beautiful and wide valley surrounded by mountains. Sasuke and his team took 3 days to travel from the land of hot springs to the land of crystals. They had to circumvent the land of fire to make sure they wouldn't run into any leaf ninjas, which made the journey longer. Sasuke, why'd you make us climb this mountain? I'm tired, Suigetsu said. Shut up, Suigetsu. Don't you see that Sasuke's coming in with a plan? Karin said. Sasuke indeed had a reason. This mountain was the place where he and Naruto had fought against the stone ninjas, trying to prevent the great landslide again. He didn't want to admit, but he wanted to see the place one more time. Sasuke felt angry at himself for it. Were his bonds not truly severed? Did he still care for the leaf, even after all these years? He remembered the fight he had with Naruto in Orochimaru's hideout. He couldn't kill someone that wasn't Itachi. Nostalgia hides like an annoying insect. While you're asleep, you don't notice that it stings you, Sasuke said. Aha! So you've been here before, Suigetsu said, but Sasuke ignored him. Juugo, have you heard anything? The birds tell me that the ninjas from the leaf and stone are already in the city, Juugo said, petting a bird that was sitting on his shoulder. Also, I sense several powerful chakras down below. Don't expand your sensory range anymore. We don't want their sensory types to find us. All of you, suppress your chakra. We're going to reconnaissance the old-fashioned way, with our eyes. Kato's the priority. He has intel on Itachi. He will be arbitrating the meeting between the leaf and the stone, so he shouldn't be difficult to find. However, we mustn't let anyone know I am here, Sasuke said, pointing to Suigetsu's executioner's blade. That sword is too conspicuous. Give it to me. What? I'm not giving you my sword. I mean, wielding it is the only reason why I'm bearing Karin's presence and hanging with you guys. The sword, Suigetsu. The Leaf Village knows what it looks like. We'll stand out. I'll give it back when we're out of here. What if I have to fight? This is a stealth operation. We're not here to fight. But what if I have to fight? The sword, Sasuke said with a tone of finality. It sent shivers down Suigetsu's spine. He scowled but tossed the executioner's blade to Sasuke, who pulled a scroll from his satchel. Sasuke bit his thumb, drawing blood, opened the scroll and inscribed seals on it. He then touched the executioner's blade with his thumb, staining it red, and weaved one-handed seals. The massive sword puffed into smoke and disappeared. Sasuke closed the scroll, tying it with a thin rope and put it back in his satchel. He then tossed his own sheathed sword at Suigetsu, who caught it by the scabbard. You can use that until I return yours. This one's not really my style. Can't you wield any sword with mastery? I guess, Suigetsu said, unsheathing the sword and throwing some practice swings. But what about you? What sword are you gonna use? I don't need a sword to be effective, Sasuke said, weaving a one-handed seal. Transformation jutsu. Sasuke transformed himself into a regular citizen. You should all do the same. Now let's get going. Kiba rode Akamaru into the city of crystals. Shino and Anko walked close to him as Lady Tsunade led their party. Shino carried several gourds. Kiba knew each of them had a specific variety of bugs, which honestly creeped Kiba out a little bit. The citizens of the land of crystals looked at the Hokage in awe, surprised that she came personally to their city. As the Leaf Squad headed to the inn they would stay in, Tsunade smiled and waved to the citizens looking at her. This place looks much better than we were here last time, doesn't it, Shino? Kiba said. I suppose. Oh, come on. Can't you be a little more excited? We really helped these guys out. If it weren't for us, this place would have been destroyed. I mean, it was destroyed a little bit, but it would have been much more destroyed. Kiba, if I remember correctly, you didn't do anything useful in that mission. Actually, you were a liability. So much so that Sasuke had to punch you to quiet you down. Hey, why do you have to bring the war stuff up, Shino? Sasuke Uchiha punched you? Why? Anko asked in amusement. It's nothing important. Kiba had a Jinchuriki prejudice. He was awful to Naruto. I changed, okay? okay? I feel ashamed of what I did. Yes, after he farted on your face in the tuning exams. Oh, come on, stop and bring up the worst stuff I've done in my life. Captain Anko, don't you think Lady Tsunade is acting a little weird? Shino changed subjects. He looked at Tsunade, who was still smiling and greeting the crystal citizens ahead of them. What do you mean? She can be flamboyant sometimes, but she's not a flamboyant leader. She usually wouldn't come all the way here to show off. And now she's greeting all these people like a textbook populist. You heard Lady Tsunade in the briefing. The leaf needs to project strength in the Land of Fire as well, especially after what happened to the Waterfall Village. That's why she's doing all this. I don't know. Something feels off. The Hokage's here! The Hokage's here! The Hokage! Suigetsu whisper shouted. Team Hebi crouched on a rooftop, overlooking the Leaf Squad who walked down the main thoroughfare of Crystal City. The Hokage waved at the populace. That could be a problem, Sasuke said, disguised with his transformation jutsu. You don't say! The Hokage is here! We can't fight her! We have to leave! Cancel this operation, Sasuke! Suigetsu was sweating from his terror. Another damned Sanin. They just keep making my life hell, Suigetsu thought. The Hokage's not a problem. I've defeated 2 of the Sanin before, the 3rd one will be no different. Karin looked at Sasuke. His confidence and demeanor almost made her melt, but she couldn't show it. Still, Sasuke was hiding something underneath. If Tsunade was here, that meant she probably wasn't in the village to heal Jiraiya, which means Sasuke killed Jiraiya. Well, it was his fault for interfering with Sasuke's business. Serves him right. The problem is that boy that's riding a dog. He's from the Inuzuka clan. Concealing our chakra presence won't work against him. They track via smell, and he knows mine. We have to take care of him before he does any general sweep of the area. If he does, he'll know I'm here, and then the operation will be compromised. How are you gonna get around that, Sasuke? Juugo said. I have an idea. Kiba and Shino settled down in their room. They were to be roommates during this mission. The inn was luxurious, granted to them for diplomatic status. This room's awesome. Diplomatic missions are the best, dude, Kiba told Shino. It's too much. Oh, come on. It's really hard to cheer you up. The last time I saw you smile was when you got that new variety of bug. But man, Captain Anko and Lady Tsunade got it even better. They both got a room for themselves. I see. So that's what you wanted. You find my presence here unsightly. I never said that. It's just that having a room like this for yourself must feel awesome. What would you even do by yourself in a room like this? I mean, there are things. Such as? Oh, come on, Shino, you know. The ladies, they appreciate a room like this. Kiba, you're not getting any ladies. Is that a challenge? No, it's a statement of fact. Even Choji got a lady. I can do it too. We're not that type of guy. You may not be, but I certainly am. You'll see. I'll get a girl in no time. Shino said nothing to retort. He seemed more gloomy than usual. A knock came from the door. Kiba opened it, and his heart leaped immediately. A gorgeous red-haired girl smiled at him. She wore a quite revealing dress, and her perfume was overpowering, intoxicating. Hey Kiba, do you remember me? It took a few seconds for Kiba to process the question as he was checking her out, but then it clicked. The girl standing in front of him was called Mina. She was one of the people he had helped during the reconstruction of the Crystal City over 4 years ago. They were only 12 at the time, and Kiba remembered developing a slight crush on her back in the day when he was helping her family to rebuild her house. He remembered being sad for leaving the Crystal Village. He thought he would never see her again, but there she was, and she had developed significantly. She was already cute back in the day, but now Kiba had to focus so his eyes wouldn't drift to places they shouldn't. Of course I remember you, Mina. How have you been? Great. I knew you would remember me. I thought about you every day since you left. Kiba felt a jolt of fire igniting within. His entire face flushed. Really? Of course, you helped me out so much. I really was dumb. I never asked for your address or anything, so I couldn't send you letters. But I saw you on the street. It was like destiny. Well, I'll definitely tell you my address now. Mina hugged him firmly. Kiba could feel her entire body, and the scent of her perfume was so pleasant that he wanted to keep hugging her forever. Why don't you come to my house? I can't. I'm on a mission right now. Well, you could at least come to the tavern tonight. It'll be fun. Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess I could, right? Lady Tsunade said she's probably gonna check it out too, so it wouldn't be a problem if I went. And the diplomatic meeting's only tomorrow, so I think I'll be going, yeah? Mina smiled. She then looked at Akamaru and beamed. Oh my god, Akamaru, is that you? You got so big! She leapt to the dog and hugged him as well, caressing his snout with intensity. He's even cuter now. He's so
fluffy.
Akamaru leaked her face back, and Kiba smiled. She stood up and motioned to leave, but before she did, Mina pulled a scarf out of her purse and wrapped it around Kiba's neck. It smelled just like her. A wonderful scent. This so you don't forget me, okay? Don't take this scar off until you leave the city, okay? For me.
Yeah, sure, well, of course.
I'll see you tonight, Kiba.
Yeah, I'll see you there.
She left, and Kiba felt like he was floating over the clouds. Must be nice, Shino said. When Kiba snapped out of his trance, he realized Shino was gloomier than usual. The gloom made it look like an entire storm was following him in the room.
Hey, I told you I'd get a lady, you just have to be positive. And now, I have a date.
I still can't believe the Lady Tsunade is planning on going to that tavern.
Come on, man, this is just a diplomatic mission. That's not a lot of danger. Shino, you should go too. We'll get you a lady as well.
I will go, but not for courtship. I'll go to protect Lady Tsunade. I'm on a mission.
Oh, come on. Everybody knows Lady Tsunade can protect herself. This mission's just a formality for us. You should try and, socialize a little bit.
Even if I did so, it would be futile.
What do you mean?
That girl didn't even register my presence when she came by. I am invisible to girls on purpose.
Huh? What do you mean on purpose?
Because if I show my presence, they'll be disgusted. You wouldn't understand. Your companion is a dog. Girls love dogs. I, on the other hand, have thousands of bugs living inside my body. The Aburame clan members only marry other Aburame clan members. We're the only ones who can withstand each other. And unfortunately, there are no Aburame girls around my age. I will die alone.
Oh, come on. I just told you to be positive. Of course you'll find someone. You're going to the tavern with me, and I don't care what you say. I'll drag if you have me to, and we'll find you someone.
Kurotsuchi was nervous. At first, she was glad to see the Crystal City thriving after its turbulent past involving the Stone Village, and she was thankful to that old geezer for sending her to represent the stone in the diplomatic mission, but for some reason, the Hokage came here in person and she would be negotiating with Kurotsuchi. This diplomatic meeting has been held 4 times already, once every year since the Land of Crystals incident, and all but the first one were simple formalities. A meeting to reinforce the commitment of the Land of Crystals' neutrality regarding the Stone of the Leaf, to make sure the Land of Crystals would be purchasing the services of shinobi from whichever nation it felt was appropriate, and to do so without any coercion from any of the parts. But if the Hokage was there, did that mean she wanted to change the parameters of the treaty? Why would she come personally and not just send a representative? Kurotsuchi had been a jonin for over 3 years now, but negotiating with the Hokage was something that filled her with anxiety. She would be representing her entire country, and she would have to brace herself to do it. But she'll have to succeed. After all, situations like this would be common when she became the Tsuchikage.
What's wrong, Kurotsuchi? Looks like you swallowed a slug,
Akatsuchi said.
It's nothing, I was just thinking about tomorrow's meeting.
There's nothing to worry about. We should enjoy ourselves. I heard there's a really nice tavern here. We could also go sightseeing. This place is beautiful, Akatsuchi said, looking at the mountains that surrounded the city. We shouldn't lower our guards. This is an important mission. And even if there's no prospect of danger, we can never be too careful. Itan, the third and final member of Kurotsuchi's squad, said, "We can go to the tavern and unwind a bit. It doesn't mean we'll lower our guards." "But Captain Kurotsuchi, we should focus on the mission. There can be always a rogue ninja lurking in the shadows, ready to strike." "Relax, Itan. There's no chance in the world a rogue ninja would attack here, especially with the literal Hokage present." Sasuke narrowed his eyes, peering into the distance. He was at another rooftop and watched Kiba walking alongside Shino. He was wearing a scarf around his neck. "I'm surprised it was so easy. He took that scarf without hesitation. Can't believe he would let his sense of smell be suppressed because a pretty girl asked him to. That's so un-shinobi-like," Karin said. "What are you talking about? If Sasuke told you to jump off a bridge, you would, you hypocrite."
"Shut up,
Quiet, the two of you. When I had a mission here long ago, I was the squad leader, and I remembered Kiba getting close to that red-haired girl, and he's never been the wise type. It's not a surprise he fell for it. With the amount of perfume you put on that scarf, you shouldn't be able to sniff me out. We can start searching for Kado." "Sasuke, how long will the genjutsu that you put on that girl last?" Juugo asked. "If no one breaks her out, her infatuation should last at least a day, so we'll have to find Kado before that. If the genjutsu runs out while she's with Kiba, she'll freak out, and they'll look for the genjutsu caster."
"Isn't that kinda mean, though? Making that poor dude think that a babe like that's got the hots for him."
"You're fine with cleaving people in half, but this is where you draw the line?"
I broke broken heart's much more painful than being cut in half, said the guy who's never been touched by a woman, Karin said. Surprisingly, Suigetsu didn't fire back at Karin. He seemed sad all of a sudden. Besides, the worst part is not breaking the dogman's heart, it's controlling the girl like that. But that doesn't matter, we're here to find Itachi, right, Sasuke? Karin said, grasping his arm. Unhand me. Sasuke shook her off. We have to locate the stone ninja that have come here as well and keep tabs on them. They could lead us to Kado. Do you think that Tsuchikage is here too? Juugo asked. I doubt it. We would have heard about it by now. In any event, we have to find Kado before their meeting tomorrow. It would be troublesome to do any interrogation in front of the leaf and the stone. And we can't wait until after the meeting or my genjutsu will expire. So let's get to work. Team Hebi, all disguised with a transformation jutsu, scattered as night began to fall. Can't believe Lady Tsunade and Captain Anko already went to the tavern without us, Kiba said, disappointed to Shino. They were also heading to the tavern. Well, let's just hope for the best. Kiba smiled and clutched the scarf Mina gave him. I wish you had let me bring my gourds. If you want to meet a nice lady, walking with those things is not gonna help you out. Don't worry, no one's gonna steal them or anything. You left Akamaru behind watching over them. You left Akamaru behind because you want some alone time with that girl. Besides, if we have to fight, I won't be at my maximum potential. We're not gonna fight, Shino. We're going to have fun. Get you a lady. Here, lower this hood and take off these sun goggles. You're gonna look much better, Kiba said, pulling Shino's hood down, but Shino resisted and didn't let Kiba take his goggles. I'm not going there to socialize. I'm gonna make sure Lady Tsunade is safe and that you don't do anything stupid. A few minutes later, they were in the tavern. A crowd surrounded one single table of the establishment, the one Tsunade and Anko were sitting at. And then I punched that thing and it exploded on my face. It was incredible. No matter what we did, it wouldn't stop exploding. We thought we were gonna die, so we finally resorted to our trump card. For the first time, we summoned our strongest summons together, and that became known as a three-way deadlock. And even still, we were barely able to survive. The second Mizukage was one tough bastard, Tsunade said, and then Barta laughed. Her face was crimson, having drunk an entire sake bottle already. Uncle laughed next to her, drinking a lot as well, and the crowd seemed enthralled with Tsunade's war stories. Shino cut into the crowd until he reached the table. Lady Tsunade, is it wise to be here? We're on a mission. You shouldn't be drinking so much. Shino, this is a diplomatic mission. It's the best kind. They offer you all types of nice stuff. You can enjoy yourself, Tsunade said, downing more sake. But if you're attacked, you'll be intoxicated. It's dangerous. Shino, if someone ran a sword through my heart, I'll be completely fine. Enjoy yourself. That's my order to you as the Hokage. Shino begrudgingly accepted Tsunade's orders and motioned to return to Kiba's table. Then saw him, and Mina, the beautiful red-haired girl, was already with him. Both of them were transfixed in the conversation, staring at each other like two love bugs. Shino sighed and looked for another place to sit. Interrupting the two wouldn't be right. He sat by himself and sent a few of his insects to spread around the room and keep an eye on any suspicious activity, especially close to Lady Tsunade. Shino ordered some food and ate alone. Kiba and Mina seemed to be having fun. Shino could hear them giggling. Must be nice, he thought. After some time, 3 stone ninjas entered the tavern. Kurotsuchi, the girl who had been an enemy long ago in this very city, led the party. To Shino's surprise, they sat on his table. Hey, you're one of the ninjas escorting the Hokage, right? Kurotsuchi asked with a smile. Yes, I suppose you don't remember me. Have we met? We fought. Here, I was the one with the insects. Oh, what was your name again? Shino. Oh, right, yeah, I didn't recognize you. You look a bit different. I saw Kiba, I didn't know you were here too. Shino wasn't surprised. Even people that were closer to him had trouble recognizing him after a long time. Naruto took several minutes to do so after he came back to the village. So, who else came here with you? Is Naruto here too? No, Naruto's in the Leaf Village. Oh, I see. She looked sad. The table grew awkward. Shino wasn't great at conversations, and he wasn't close to the stone ninjas. Kurotsuchi seemed a little upset after finding out Naruto wasn't coming, while the fat man in her party was staring at the menu, licking his lips. The third one was staring at a wall, not paying attention to Shino, or anyone for that matter. The stone ninjas finally decided on something to eat, and after a few minutes, their food was brought in as well. While they were being served, Shino noticed a new patron entering the establishment. He seemed normal, other than the fact that he was wearing an oversized Kaza hat covering his entire face. But that's not what alarmed Shino. He seemed too normal, almost as though he was trying to look inconspicuous. No one else seemed to give the man any thought though, so Shino only observed. The man with the hat sat at the counter of the tavern and ordered some food. Don't look so gloomy, Kurotsuchi. I'm sure you'll see your boyfriend again soon enough. The fat man teased her by nudging her shoulder, finally breaking the silence on the table. Kurotsuchi's face turned from a disappointed look to to red in a split second. The other man with a goatee was barely paying any attention. Shut up, Akatsuchi, where'd you get these ideas from? Akatsuchi looked at Shino. She won't stop talking about this guy. I want to meet him one day, you know? Naruto is quite the shinobi. Just finished a mission where he fought an army of chakra monsters. According to Lady Tsunade, he saved the land of fire in the process. Shino noticed that as soon as he said the word Naruto, the man with the hat tilted his head ever so slightly. It would have been an imperceptible movement if Shino wasn't paying attention to him. The advantage of wearing sun goggles was that no one knew exactly where your eyes were pointed at. It was weird that the man would react to Naruto's name specifically. But maybe Shino was just imagining things. It's just that Naruto's a good friend, and we go back a long way. Shino could see a gleam in Kurotsuchi's eyes when she mentioned Naruto. Could she have feelings for Naruto just like Hinata? Figures. Having a tail beast demon in your body was still much more attractive than having a swarm of bugs. The man with the hat gave no further reaction to Naruto's name though. Kurotsuchi asked why the Hokage was here in person, but Shino didn't give her an answer. First because he wouldn't leak intel to a foreign ninja, but also because he himself wasn't sure about Lady Tsunade's intentions. The third man with the goatee finally said something. I think it'll be alright, as long as the moderator is decent. I mean, I'm sure he is. They said the Snow Village is great at mediating. They even have special shinobi trained for that, Kurotsuchi said. Do you know if he's already here? Did you forget the briefing already, Itan? None of the parts are going to know the whereabouts of the mediator until the actual meeting, so nobody can try to influence him. Honestly, you're embarrassing me in front of the leaf, Kurotsuchi said, nodding towards Shino. But I bet you'll know something, don't you? Itan asked Shino. Unfortunately, I do not. Excuse me for a second, Shino said, standing up. Itan's demeanor had changed abruptly when he started talking, almost as though Shino walked towards the man with the hat and sat next to him at the counter. 20 minutes earlier. Sasuke had already put 3 innkeepers under a genjutsu, forcing them to tell anything they knew about Kado. He had no luck. His target hadn't been to any of the major inns in the city. His team was also searching, but they had to split to cover more ground and do it faster. He put Juugo in charge of finding the stone ninjas using his abilities to communicate with birds. And Sasuke kept searching, walking along the busy Crystal City streets, disguised as just another member of society. He heard that the busiest tavern in town, the Crystalline Fragrance, would be teeming with patrons, especially the day before an important diplomatic meeting. So Sasuke decided to head that way. Before he got to the tavern though, without even meaning to, he found the Stone Squadron that was sent to meet with the Hokage. To Sasuke's surprise, Kurotsuchi, the magma-style user he fought in this very city a long time ago, was among them. She could be an eyesore if Sasuke wasn't careful. 2 men accompanied her, and Sasuke could tell just by looking at them that Kurotsuchi and the larger man were far stronger than the one with the goatee. He deduced they were also heading to the tavern and concocted a plan. Sasuke discreetly pointed his finger at a civilian passing by the stone ninjas and cast an ephemeral genjutsu. In his mind, the man felt a sharp pain on his back and fell to the ground, screaming for help. Kurotsuchi, just as Sasuke predicted, knelt down to help him as a small crowd began to gather. Sasuke made his way amidst the crowd and positioned himself. When the bearded stone ninja looked at the crowd, he gave Sasuke's transformed face a fleeting gaze. In that instant, he activated his Sharingan, casting an ocular genjutsu to put that stone ninja under his control. Sasuke then swiftly stole a large Kaza hat hanging from the side of a distracted civilian in the crowd and put it on. He needed to hide his Sharingan. The transformation jutsu couldn't disguise its form, and Sasuke had to keep it activated to fully control the stone ninja with exact precision. He could give general instructions such as being infatuated with someone, deactivate the Sharingan and the genjutsu would still work, but precise control required the eye to be activated. Sasuke then dispelled the ephemeral genjutsu, and a minute later the crowd dispersed, as the man who fell started to feel better. Kurotsuchi motioned to her allies to continue their way to the tavern, and Sasuke made his puppet follow her, as if nothing had happened. Sasuke himself followed them from afar, taking care not to draw any attention. A few moments later, they entered the tavern. Sasuke waited a few minutes to enter, so as not to draw any suspicion. He finally went in, and when he did so, the tavern was quite a sight. He only gave the room the briefest of glances, to make sure no one would see his Sharingan, but what he saw was alarming. Tsunade and Anko, Orochimaru's former apprentice, sat on a table, probably intoxicated with a crowd surrounding them. Kiba was completely infatuated with the girl Sasuke had put on her genjutsu, just according to plan, but the stone ninja sat with Shino, and unlike the other leaf ninjas, he was on his guard. The most analytical of the bunch was actively looking for anything out of the ordinary. And worst of all, Sasuke did not see anyone matching Kado's description. He sat on a counter and ordered some food. He tried to look like a normal tavern patron, but had to lower his hat in order to obscure his Sharingan. Even though he wasn't able to look around, Sasuke was listening to all 3 tables at the same time. Tsunade was shouting about the time she fought against Hanzo of the Salamander. Kiba was telling Mina what he would do when they left the tavern, but what caught Sasuke's attention the most was Shino mentioning Naruto's name. That surprised him. Before he could think, Sasuke turned his head towards Shino's table in instinct ever so slightly. A massive blunder that could give his identity away. Sasuke felt angry and ashamed. How could a mere mention of Naruto's name break his composure, if only for a split second? Sasuke had to do something about it. He waited for Shino and the Stone Ninjas to converse a bit more, and then commanded Itan to ask about the Meteor. Unfortunately for Sasuke, Kurotsuchi didn't know anything about it, and she was the squad leader. He even tried to ask Shino, but he didn't say anything either. Sasuke wanted to do something to question Tsunade about Kado, but fearing that his position was compromised, Sasuke decided to leave. However, before he could do so, Shino stood up and walked towards him, sitting right next to Sasuke. Sasuke couldn't leave too fast, it would look too suspicious, and that gave Shino time to approach him. He suspected something, and leaving now would just give Sasuke away completely. He would have to talk his way out of it. Shino looked at the man sitting next to him with the corner of his eye. The large hat covered the man's entire face, and he seemed unperturbed with Shino's sudden presence there. "So, do you always come here?" Shino asked. "Not really, just passing by." "I see. I suppose the sight of the Hokage in a tavern is rare." "Indeed. I take you're one of her ninjas?" "I am." They fell silent. Tsunade's laughter washed over the room as the crowd clapped at another of her stories. The man still didn't move his head towards Shino or the room. "I never knew the Hokage was so talkative." "She can be," Shino said, emitting a mental command for one of his bugs to crawl under the man's chair and take a look at his face, especially after what happened. Alcohol lets her cope. Sasuke felt a stab of guilt. So the Hokage had already gotten the news about Jiraiya's death. The leaf would certainly make finding Sasuke a priority now. But there was something else within Sasuke, a sense of loss, of sorrow. It didn't intend to kill Jiraiya. As far as he knew, Jiraiya was like a grandfather to Naruto, and Sasuke took that away from him, just like Itachi took his family away long ago. He fought against his feeling. He wanted to believe his bond with Naruto and the Leaf Village was severed, but somehow, fine threads still remained. "What happened?" Sasuke asked, feigning ignorance. "Her prized pupil was killed in a mission in the land of whirlpools." A wave of adrenaline erupted within Sasuke and washed over his entire body. A gut reaction. He had no control over it whatsoever. Why would he care so much? Sakura didn't affect Sasuke's revenge. Where were all these feelings even coming from? Shino looked at the man. His posture had shifted ever so slightly after the lie. Bringing Sakura up certainly had an effect. First Naruto, then Sakura. Could this man be? "A shame," the man said curtly. Even still, Shino could sense a slight trembling to his voice. His insect was almost reaching underneath the man's seat. He would be able to identify his face. Shino ordered it to move slowly and silently, and hopefully the conversation would distract the man from the bug. "Yes, I believe she chose to come here and leave the village to forget. All those memories must hurt," Shino said as the insect reached a position on the ground where he could see the man's face. "Nostalgia hides like an annoying insect. While you're asleep, you don't notice that it stings you." The man's foot turned into a blur and crushed Shino's insect right when he said the word stings. One fact was confirmed. That man was a shinobi. He was too fast and managed to notice the insect. Perhaps he even knew about Shino's abilities and was looking for it. Shino had to change tactics, make him think he was off the mark. "Interesting that you would come here and spy before the meeting," Shino said. The man remained silent. "I thought the Meteor was supposed to be unbiased and stay clear of both parties until they meet." Sasuke had given away he was a shinobi, but he couldn't help it. His anger got the better of him for a split second, and he smashed that bug with too much force. In his burst of emotion, he didn't even consider the possibility of Shino lying to him. He saw his reaction to Naruto's name before. He could be trying to see if Sakura would do anything. And now this challenge about him being the mediator and spying on the people could be a diversion to fool Sasuke. But it would be better for Sasuke if he made Shino believe that Sasuke himself believed he was caught as the mediator. "I don't know what you're talking about," Sasuke said. Lying in the situation would be the most appropriate thing to do if the mediator was here. But Sasuke had to leave. Staying here had become dangerous with so many enemy ninjas and his cover compromised. Sasuke decided to use his Sharingan to command Mina's actions with full control. Kiba and her had been talking ever since Sasuke got into the tavern, but now Mina stood up and pulled on Kiba's scarf, saying, "This tavern is too crowded and loud. Let's find a quieter place where we can be alone." She winked at the last word. As Sasuke expected, Kiba didn't hesitate. He was swiftly ushered out of the tavern. Shino looked at what just happened but didn't do or say anything. Sasuke had hoped that Shino would follow Kiba or try to stop him at least, but Shino Shino was already too suspicious. He wouldn't let Sasuke out of his sight. Sasuke could just dash away, but that would be too conspicuous. And even though he was fast, it would be much easier to track him that way. After all, Sasuke still had a plan B to find Kado if his intel gathering didn't work. But for his plan B to work, he couldn't leave a trail. Must be nice, Shino said, looking at Kiba as he left the tavern. His voice had a genuine sadness to it. Shino was conflicted. On the one hand, he wanted to make sure Kiba wouldn't do anything stupid to compromise the mission, but on the other hand, he had to stay close to this man and protect Lady Tsunade. Shino shot her a glance. The 5th Hokage's speech was getting louder and more incoherent by the minute. She could pass out at any moment, and this man, Shino had his suspicions, could be dangerous. So he decided to stay and let Kiba, hopefully, just have fun. He thought about sending in more insects to glimpse the man's face, but if he noticed the first one, sending more would just escalate the situation. Overall, Shino was not in a great position. Lady Tsunade and Captain Anko were in no condition to fight. They would in fact be a liability. Without Kiba, the possibility of reinforcements would be the Stone Ninjas, and it wasn't a guarantee that they would fight to protect the Hokage. And to make things even worse, Shino didn't bring his gourds. Just like he predicted, that was a foolish idea. Tell me, what type of jutsu do they teach to mediator ninjas in the Snow Village? Shino said, trying to deceive the man in the hat further and perhaps figure out what he was up to. Sasuke was annoyed at that question. He knew that Shino knew that he knew Shino wasn't telling the truth. Orochimaru loved playing this type of passive-aggressive, all-knowing game but pretending to be clueless about it all the time. It was infuriating. Sasuke preferred to be much more straightforward in any type of conversation. Shut your mouth, Sasuke said, standing up and making sure his hat would cover his eyes from a higher angle. Shino grabbed his arm with a swift motion. Wait, you can't leave now. And why is that? That was a good question. Shino wasn't even sure how to proceed. Capture this man right now? That would cause chaos and put the tavern patrons in danger. On the other hand, the only other option is to let him go. He could try and use a female bug to track him, but if this man is who Shino thinks he is, then the female bug wouldn't work. But it was worth a try. If the man in the hat knew what to look for and destroy the female bug, then this would give Shino an idea of who the man could be. So while he was grasping the man's arm, he slipped a female bug into the man's sleeve. The female bug would secrete a pheromone which attracts the male bugs, and then Shino could track this person. Sasuke shook Shino's arm off of him, but then he saw something that disturbed him. Juugo entered the tavern by himself. His transformation jutsu was no longer activated. His eyes were bulged out and he was sweating. Clear signs that Juugo was about to have one of his psychotic crisis. Sasuke's stomach churned. A psychotic breakdown in the middle of a crowded tavern like this would be a bloodbath. What set him off this time? It didn't matter. One of the purposes of Sasuke's quest for revenge was so that no one else would go through what Sasuke went through. These people had nothing to do with his infiltration. If they died, their blood would be on Sasuke's hands. Blood that Sasuke helped save all those years ago. Juugo drew the attention of the patrons who weren't listening to Tsunade. His size and demeanor were hard to miss. Juugo put his hands on his head, trying to contain his bloodlust, but he was losing the battle. A serving lady began to walk towards him, and Sasuke knew that if she got within his reach, she was dead. He would have to go for plan B now. There was no other way. Shino looked at Juugo and said, "That's quite a lot." Sasuke threw a punch towards Shino's face. His fist traveled in a split second, but surprisingly, Shino managed to raise his arm in time to block it. At the same time, Sasuke used his Sharingan Genjutsu and commanded the stone ninja to toss a shuriken at Tsunade. Juugo dashed at the serving lady with bloodshot eyes. Sasuke saw his curse mark beginning to flare out. The crowd began to shout and run aimlessly. Even though Shino blocked the strike, he was flung backwards, landing on the table, smashing the food and drinks of the patrons. The shuriken arced above the crowd and was about to hit Tsunade's side when a small swath of insects, the ones Shino left close to Tsunade, flew up and intercepted the weapon, blocking it mid-air. Sasuke dashed towards Juugo and commanded the stone ninja to toss all of his smoke bombs to the ground. The room became inundated with dark smoke, making visibility practically zero. Sasuke undid his transformation jutsu and used all of his speed to intercept Juugo's arm. A split second before he was about to rip the serving lady's head out of her body, white snakes emerged from Sasuke's sleeve and wrapped themselves around Juugo's arm, stopping his motion. Sasuke was close enough to look with his Sharingan into Juugo's murderous eyes through the smoke and said, "Calm down, Juugo." He snapped out of his deranged state, and his face immediately turned into guilt. His curse mark retracted as well. We have to get out of here now, Sasuke said, enveloped by smoke. Juugo nodded, and both of them dashed out of the tavern, trying to avoid the terrified crowd. Shino felt a sharp pain on the arm he used to block the punch. He felt it and realized it wasn't broken, but now the room was filled with smoke. He stood up, and trusting his memory, he jumped in the direction of Lady Tsunade's stable. He landed square on the table, and could now see Lady Tsunade and Captain Anko assuming flimsy battle stances, barely able to stand up because of the alcohol. Shino crouched down on the table and extended his hands. Lady Tsunade, Captain Anko, stay down, I'll take care of it, he said, as a large swarm of insects exited both of his sleeves and started to encircle them. Amidst the smoke, Kurotsuchi found Itan and punched him square on the nose, drawing blood. He fell to the ground, groaning in pain. What's happening? He asked, very confused. Good, you're out of the genjutsu, Kurotsuchi said, narrowing her eyes. Sasuke and Juugo jumped from rooftop to rooftop. Moonlight illuminated the city, but they were careful to stay in the darkness. Sasuke weaved a one-handed seal and sent a stream of lightning down his arm, destroying the female bug Sasuke noticed Shino putting on him. Sasuke remembered Shino using that trick to track Kankuro down during Orochimaru's invasion of the Leaf Village. But if Shino noticed he couldn't track Sasuke with a female bug, he could suspect Sasuke was involved. After all, he knew the trick. While increasing suspicion was better than being tracked. At a distance, Sasuke saw the patrons screaming and running out of the tavern as dark smoke leaked out of the windows. I'm sorry, Sasuke. I saw a man falling down and screaming in agony when I was tailing the stone ninjas. I'm sorry. Those screams, the agony, they triggered my psychosis. Sasuke frowned. So he was the one that caused Juugo's episode by putting that man under a painful genjutsu to distract the stone ninjas. Don't worry about that. We're altering the plan, Sasuke said, creating two shadow clones with a one-handed sign. One of my clones will accompany you. You must find Karin. She will be vital for this new plan to work. What about you? I'll be busy for a while. My clone will give you the details, Sasuke said, dashing away. One of his clones dashed to another direction, and the second clone remained with Juugo. Listen, Juugo, this plan will be risky, the clone said. Shino waited for the smoke to disperse, keeping his insects flying around himself. Lady Tsunade and Captain Anko. They knelt behind Shino, both in no condition to fight. Shino commanded male insects to go after the female bug, but they couldn't. There were no pheromones for them to track, which means that the man in the hat destroyed the female bug. He knew the trick. Or perhaps he just noticed an insect crawling on his arm, but still, Shino was very careful when he put the insect on the man's arm so that he wouldn't notice. Once the smoke cleared, Shino saw a few patrons on the ground and below the tables trying to protect themselves, and the three stone ninjas still in the tavern. Kurotsuchi approached Shino. She raised her hands up in the air. Shino, I'm sorry, but I assure you Itan would never attack the Hokage. I know. He was under a genjutsu. Kurotsuchi sighed in relief. I'm glad you're very level-headed. I wouldn't want a fourth grade ninja war to start because of a misunderstanding. Seeing that things had calmed down, Shino began to recall his bugs into his sleeves. They would re-enter his body as soon as they were out of sight. The large man looked upset, and the man in the hat were no longer in the tavern. And strangely, the man in the hat acted shortly after that man arrived to the tavern. It's almost certain that the man in the hat was the one to casting genjutsu on Itan as well, seeing that he punched Shino at the same time Itan tossed a shuriken at Tsunade, Shino reasoned. The meeting will be cancelled now. What a fiasco. I should have noticed my subordinate was under genjutsu, Kurotsuchi said. Don't beat yourself up. I get the feeling the caster is very skillful. I also doubt Lady Tsunade will cancel the meeting over this. There's gonna be a meeting. We're not canceling it because of a puny, tiny little shuriken, Tsunade said, almost falling over. But there was an assassination attempt. No, there was no assassination attempt. A meager shuriken wouldn't kill Lady Tsunade even if she let herself get hit by it. It was just a distraction. Whoever did this was after something else. What could they be after? I don't know. Who could they be? Actually, I do. Who is it? Don't worry. I'll deal with him. Oh, come on, you don't have to be so cryptic with me. This ninja attacked my team as well. I'll deal with him. I don't want to cause panic. But first, I have to take these two drunkards back to their rooms and then find Kiba wherever he is. Kiba kissed Mina with untamed passion. Their mouths had been one for the last 15 minutes. He couldn't believe that was happening to him. It had to be the greatest day of his life. His first kiss, and with a babe like that, he could do anything now. He felt powerful, unbeatable. Mina's smell overpowered Kiba's senses, and his mouth was growing numb from so much kissing. But he liked that. They were in her bedroom. The pleasant night breeze came through the open window, and the moonshine cast a beautiful silver sheen on the room. Rain began to pour, making a satisfying horrifying sound that also invaded their senses. Mina finally broke away from the kiss. Tiny droplets of cool water hit Kiba's face after the rain fell on the window frame nearby, and he already missed her lips. She then laid on her own bed and looked at Kiba with intention. Well then, shall we begin? Kiba felt hate flaring on his face. Wait, isn't it too soon? Not for us. We'll be doing this together for the rest of our lives, so why don't we just start now? Kiba swallowed. She was right. Shouldn't be afraid. He jumped on top of her and resumed kissing, but then he smelled someone else near them. Her parents? She said they were out of town. Who could it be? Kiba broke the kiss and looked up at the window where the smell was coming from. A dark figure backlit by the moon stared at Kiba with those eyes. The only shape that Kiba could discern were those eyes. A piercing crimson gaze that invaded Kiba's soul and made him feel small. That smell, he remembered it now. Lightning flashed behind the figure and Kiba could see his face for a split second. It was Sasuke Uchiha. I take it you're enjoying my bait, Kiba. Heavy rain pelted Shino's dark goggles. He carried an unconscious Lady Tsunade back to their inn. She passed out from the sake shortly after they left the tavern. Kurotsuchi carried an unconscious Captain Anko next to Shino. The rain decreased visibility, which on the one hand was a good thing, so that most people wouldn't see the state Lady Tsunade was in. Most people would also stay indoors, meaning that Shino shouldn't run into anybody else he didn't want to. And they were being careful, walking slowly so as not to draw attention. Hopping from rooftop to rooftop would be a dead giveaway if any potential enemies were nearby, that shinobis were moving around. They also took an alternative and longer route to the end that circumvented most of the busy streets in Crystal City. Thanks for helping me in this rain, Shino told Kurotsuchi. Don't worry about it, you do the same. Akatsuchi anytime will take care of the aftermath of the incident in the tavern with the local police, Kurotsuchi said. On the other hand, the rain would make it difficult for Kiba to track the man in the hat. That still worried Shino. Kiba could be anywhere and the man in the hat could be after other people in his squad. Kurotsuchi and Shino finally got back to the inn. I'll leave both of them in the same room. It will be easier to guard them that way. Shino decided to use Anko's room for that. It was closer to his own. I'll go fetch my gourds. Can you watch over them for a moment? Kurotsuchi nodded, and Shino went to his room after leaving Captain Anko and Lady Tsunade to rest. And after he dealt with their safety, he needed to find Kiba. Shino reached his own room and unlocked the door. To his surprise, Kiba was there. He was on the floor in the fetal position, rocking back and forth. His scarf was no longer around his neck, and Akamaru was sitting next to him, rubbing himself against Kiba. Kiba, are you alright? It took a few seconds for him to answer. No. She used me, Shino. She just wanted to make her ex jealous. That makes sense. No, it doesn't! What are you implying? I'm better looking than that guy! It doesn't matter. We have to protect Lady Tsunade and Captain Anko. Shino picked up his gourds. What do you mean? Shino then proceeded to tell Kiba about the suspicious man in the hat and what happened in the tavern after Kiba had left with Mina. But there's a chance you can still track him. When I touched his arm, I slipped a female bug which he destroyed. However, I also palmed a piece of cloth which I directly touched his skin with. Shino pulled a small piece of white cloth out of his satchel, using 2 kunais to pinch it. I don't want to touch it directly to overpower the scent of the man in the hat, he said, handing the piece of cloth to Kiba, who took it and sniffed it. So, can you track him? Kiba concentrated and sniffed more. I mean, it's faint. Kiba went to the window and opened it, welcoming the rain into the room, and inhaled deeply. No good. The rain erased the scent. Sorry, Shino. I see, Shino said, leaving the room with his gourds. Wait for me, Shino. I'll have to protect Lady Tsunade too. You know, it's my job too. You should treat your heartache. Stay here. If I stay alone, I just get more depressed, Kiba said, following Shino with Akamaru next to him. When they got to Anko's room, Kurotsuchi was standing on guard next to the 2 leaf kunoichi. Hey, Kiba, back so soon? I saw you leaving the tavern with someone, Kurotsuchi said, giggling. Can we not mention that, please? Oh, my bad. I didn't know it went poorly. I thought it was too good. Akamaru and I will stay here for the night. Thank you for your help, Kurotsuchi. You may leave. Well, you're welcome. I'll see you guys at the summit in the morning, she said, leaving the room. Alright, Akamaru and I can take turns. I want to be useful, you know, after failing Lady Tsunade a bit. I was in the tavern to protect her, and you were pretty good, Shino, so let me take care of it. None of us will stay in a room with 2 unconscious ladies. It's not proper. Oh, come on, Shino, it's for their safety. No. Fine, they'll just leave Akamaru. No. Huh? What do you mean no?
Shino opened one of his gourds. The massive toe biters exploded out of it. Most people hated those fist-sized insects, but they were just misunderstood. And unlike usual, Kiba didn't have a reaction to the sudden appearance of the toe biters. Akamaru, on the other hand, who was never bothered by the insects, coiled into Kiba, rubbing his body frantically. Are you really so heartbroken that you lost your fear of the toe biters? Kiba shook his head rapidly.
I'm not scared of them, they're just disgusting.
The massive bugs covered the walls and the roof of Anko's room. They quivered, making waves in unison which created the illusion the walls were moving. If anyone enters this room, the toe biters will kill them. Akamaru would just be caught in the swarm. Akamaru whimpered, rubbing his head against Kiba's belly. Let's get back to our room. The toe biters have it covered. Before Shino left though, he sent one of the toe biters to land on Lady Tsunade. Shino had this bad feeling ever since she joined the mission to the Land of Crystals. Shino commanded his bug to release chakra into Lady Tsunade to interrupt her chakra flow and break her out of any possible genjutsu. If she was under one, that should awaken her. The toe biter did so, but didn't dispel any genjutsu. So Lady Tsunade wasn't acting strange because of it. Regardless, Shino would have to redouble his efforts and attention in his current situation. Suigetsu Hozuki loved the rain. Most people didn't, but it reminded him of better times. It almost made climbing that stupid mountain for the second time that day bearable. The climb was also easier because he wasn't carrying his executioner's blade, though that made him feel naked. He had to keep himself hydrated. He scouted for hours and that was boring as hell. Boredom was probably the #1 cause for dehydration, at least for Suigetsu. He finally reached the mountain's peak, which was the point Sasuke had set as their meeting point after their scouting. He saw Juugo and Sasuke taking shelter from the rain under an alcove. Karin wasn't with them. Strange, he thought she would be racing to be with Sasuke, but better if that wench wasn't here anyway.
I had no luck, Sasuke. This Kato guy is like a ghost, is a master in stealth or whatever.
We're changing plans, Suigetsu. You'll stay here for now, Sasuke said, pointing to the dark alcove.
What?
I had to alter the approach. 3 hours earlier. Sasuke scattered, as did one of his shadow clones, leaving Juugo and his last clone behind in charge of finding Karin. Sasuke Prime rushed to the location he commanded Mina to take Kiba to with his ocular genjutsu, the same place Sasuke had found her before to command her to approach Kiba, her home. Sasuke also used another genjutsu on her parents to make them stay in an inn and vacate the house. There was a contingency for his plan B, which he didn't expect to use, but now it would come in handy. He got to the outside of the house and made his way to the window of Mina's room. He commanded her to leave it open. Rain began to pour, and Sasuke hated the rain. It reminded him of the day he returned to the Uchiha ward after the massacre. When Sasuke got to the window, he saw Kiba throwing himself onto Mina and kissing her in bed. Sasuke froze. Why did he picture himself and Sakura doing that? What was wrong with him? But Sakura, she couldn't be dead. Sasuke remembered what Shino told him, but that had to be a lie Shino used to gauge his reaction, and Sasuke fell for it. She had to be alive, and now he's having these fantasies. Sasuke caught himself and felt angry. These intrusive thoughts were interfering with his revenge. Lightning flashed behind Sasuke, waking him out of his stupor. Kiba had noticed his presence, and Sasuke had no idea for how long he had been staring at him. What an idiot. Gazing straight into the Sharingan. I take it you're enjoying my bait, Kiba.
Mina, take cover! This guy's bad news!
Kiba sprung into action. His nails turned into claws, and he was about to dash at Sasuke. Before he got any close, Sasuke used his eyes and made Mina grapple Kiba.
Mina, let me go. You have to run, please. I got this. Please, stay out of here. It's dangerous.
She didn't let go of Kiba. How dense are you? She's under my genjutsu. Do you really think a girl like that would sick you out? You're not like me. Sasuke commanded Mina to look straight into his eyes, and he cast another genjutsu on her. This time she passed right out next to Kiba, falling on her own bed. Don't worry, she won't remember you when she wakes up. Memories become hazy when you're being controlled, and I just cast a memory wiping genjutsu.
You bastard!
Kiba jumped towards Sasuke, propelling himself from the bed, flexing his claws, ready to strike. Before he could slash, Sasuke threw a casual backhand punch to Kiba's face that sent him across the room, heading the opposite wall. He felt a tooth cracking and spat blood. It was painful, but he managed to stand up with wobbling legs.
I thought you'd punch harder.
Sasuke grasped Kiba's neck and hoisted him up. Kiba didn't notice Sasuke moving his way. His eyes couldn't even detect a blur. Was that teleportation
confrontation, or was he just that fast?
If I punched you any harder, you'd die, and this house would be damaged.
You're not gonna kill me now. Not until I—
Shut up. I'm not interested in your self-motivating speech. Is Sakura alive?
What? You—
Answer my question. Sasuke squeezed his neck even harder.
Yes! Why would she not be?
Sasuke cast a genjutsu on Kiba, who passed out, and relieved washed over him, so Shino was indeed lying about her. Rushing through shadows and rain, Sasuke took Kiba's unconscious body back to the meeting point, where he found his clone with a tied-up and unconscious Akamaru. He had sent his clone to look for Akamaru and do the same thing he just did to Kiba, and Sasuke expected that clone to take much longer than him. As unlike Kiba, who Sasuke knew where to look for, Akamaru could have been anywhere. That was the greatest risk for his plan B. If Shino and Tsunade got to Akamaru before Sasuke, they could track Kiba's smell. Sasuke was lucky though. His clone found Akamaru in the first place he looked for, the in room, and now he had the leaf sensory types completely neutralized. Suigetsu advanced into the cave until he saw the dog guy with his dog. They were both unconscious, certainly under one of Sasuke's genjutsus, tied up, blindfolded, and gagged.
You capture them? I thought this was a stealth operation.
Sasuke had no choice. I ruined the first plan, Juugo said.
So much for the element of surprise.
Don't misunderstand, Suigetsu. This is still a covert operation.
What do you mean? You captured two of their ninjas or dogs or whatever? But the thing is, it won't be long until they come after us.
I am a shadow clone. My original is currently transformed into Kiba and infiltrated into the Leaf's ranks.
What? Are you insane? They'll notice you. You have no chance.
Perhaps, but I've been their comrade before. I led them on a mission in this city. I connect my way into being Kiba.
You are crazy. And even like, what are you gonna do about the dog? Who's gonna be the dog?
Well, 2 hours and 45 minutes ago, Sasuke rushed down the mountain, leaving his clone and his prisoners at the mountaintop. His other clone, who left with Juugo to find Karin, dispelled himself, sending back the information to the original that they found Karin. Sasuke was heading to their location in Crystal City. He had to be fast for his plan to work. Sasuke reached Karin and Juugo's position. As always, Karin gave him that annoying thirsty look that she tried to disguise. But for once, he could use that thirst for his advantage. Karin, I need you. She blushed and grabbed Sasuke's arm.
Yes, Sasuke, I'm ready. What do I have to do? We can, lose Juugo.
We will lose Juugo. You'll be my dog. Karin froze for a moment. She grew pale and her expression was blank. Sasuke may have misled her. I need you to transform into that white dog who accompanied the guy we gave the scarf to. I'm transforming into him. You'll be the dog.
Why me? Why do you have me transform into a dog? Why not Suigetsu or even Juugo? Why don't you make your own clone transform?
Karin was doing her usual fake outrage. Even though, not even deep down, she loved the idea. Suigetsu would never do that. Juugo is not good at the transformation jutsu, and I cannot maintain the shadow clone jutsu for long enough. It's not my speciality. I need you, Karin.
Okay,
she said, blushing and transforming herself into Akamaru. She immediately went on all fours and dashed at Sasuke, rubbing herself against him. He rolled his eyes. Juugo, return to the mountain peak. My clone is there with the prisoners. He will debrief you and Suigetsu on the rest of the operation, Sasuke said, transforming himself into Kiba. Karin, tomorrow before the meeting starts, I'll send you to scout the area for enemies. You are to stay sharp and look for Kato. If I'm unable to contact during the summit, you'll have to track him afterwards so that we can chase after him once the summit ends. He told Karin's dog form, and act more like a dog. Suigetsu cackled in laughter. He was crying and he thought he was gonna piss himself.
Karin! Sasuke's lapdog! It's just too good, dude! Oh my god! I bet she's loving every damn second of it, sniffing her crotch, pretending she's just a dog!
Sasuke's clone chuckled. Now listen, Karin and I have infiltrated the enemy ranks. It's risky, but it seems the only way I'm contacting Kato is by attending the meeting. What if they find you out, Sasuke? I don't like this. Then I'll have to fight my way out of it. I don't know where the meeting will be held, but if something goes wrong, I will launch a fireball into the sky to warn you, so that you can give me your support.
I don't know, Sasuke. I don't feel like fighting the Hokage all that much.
Well, you will if you you have to.
Can you at least give me my sword back?
I can't, it's with my original.
Damn it!
But how are you going to find a way to interrogate Kato in the middle of the meeting? The transformation jutsu can't disguise a Sharingan for you to use a genjutsu on him. They'll catch you for sure, Sasuke. I will find a way, or make one.
That doesn't sound very solid.
Don't complain. You have the easy job. Just sit here, guarding the prisoners, and wait until I come back. Or until you see fire in the sky.
I don't feel like sleeping in a cave like this.
You're not going to sleep. You will guard the prisoners, Suigetsu. I want you to raise a water barrier to cover the cave entrance. That will stop Shino's bugs if he sends them to scout the area. I was actively looking for them with a Sharingan before you got here, but I will soon dispel myself.
Alright.
And also, do not kill or injure the prisoners. We could use them to exchange information if everything else fails.
Well, that's a bummer.
Suigetsu said jokingly. I'll see you after the meeting. Sasuke's clone puffed out of existence. The original Sasuke received the information his dispel clone transmitted. All was in place. He would just have to find a way to get the intel during the meeting without anyone finding him out. Sasuke was transformed into Kiba. Karin, in dog form, was laying on his lap. He had to hide his annoyance, as Kiba would probably not be annoyed at his dog for being affectionate. He was in the room with Shino, who had been sending scout insects ever since they got back to the room after leaving that swarm of fist-sized bugs protecting Tsunade and Anko. Sasuke was right in taking precautions against Shino's scouting method. Luckily, he had seen Shino in action in this very city, using the same technique to scout for the enemy stone ninjas. Hopefully, Suigetsu's water barrier would be enough to fool the insects. The heavy rain outside will help fool them as well, make them think it's just more water. Small swaths of insects returned to Shino periodically and communicated with him with distinct flying patterns. Shino would then send them out again and receive more intel. This pattern repeated itself for a long time. Would Kiba have known these signals? Sasuke doubted it. If he himself couldn't decipher the signals, someone like Kiba certainly wouldn't, though there's always the chance Shino could teach him the signals. They were teammates after all. So, it was better if Sasuke used a much more open-ended and casual language to question Shino's results.
Any luck finding the guy in the hat?
No sign of him. Perhaps he's already left the city.
Well, if that's the case, at least the meeting tomorrow will be less tense.
We can't lower our guards.
Yeah, I know.
Could Shino be lying? Could he have found Suigetsu and Juugo keeping Kiba and Akamaru prisoners? If Shino suspected Sasuke, he certainly could. Then again, it didn't look like Shino was acting weird towards him, like he suspected something. Who do you think the man in the hat could be? Shino asked. Was that a trick question? Shino had told him about the man in the hat's weird reactions to Naruto and Sakura's name. If he told Shino a name other than Sasuke as a suspect, this could literally give him away, as he wouldn't want to give his own name. However, there's also the chance of Shino suspecting if he told his own name, reasoning that if Sasuke was infiltrated, he would give his own name to relieve suspicion on himself. Still, giving his own name would at least be more confusing and make Shino more doubtful if he suspected anything about Sasuke being transformed into Kiba.
I mean, from what you told me, it could be Sasuke, or maybe one of the Akatsuki. They're after Naruto, so his name would catch their attention, I suppose.
Sakura wouldn't prompt a reaction from an Akatsuki member, I surmise. I also didn't mention her name specifically. I just told him that a pupil of the 5th Hokage died. I get the feeling he knew who that was. Then again, I could be imagining things.
Well, if none of us can find him, I don't think it matters anymore.
He could return.
Well, true.
More insects returned to Shino, flying in patterns. After they relayed the message, Shino sent more of them away into the rain.
Do you think I still have a chance of beating Mina's boyfriend?
Is he a ninja?
No.
Then you can obviously beat him in a physical confrontation.
I don't mean beating him in that way. I mean beating him to Mina's heart.
No.
No what?
No, you do not have a chance of beating him to her heart. What happened is quite obvious. She intended to make her boyfriend jealous. Going out with one of the ninjas escorting their Hokage was an optimal way to do that. It's the only reasonable explanation as to why she would promptly seek you out and invite you to the tavern. This type of thing just doesn't happen to guys like us. When things are too good to be true, they are. Didn't Kurenai-sensei teach you that?
What do you mean by guys like us?
Ugly. Undesirable.
I'm not ugly or undesirable. You're insane. I don't... Never mind.
Sasuke hoped he was playing Kiba's part well, and as Shino didn't seem to suspect him, he felt he was doing fine. It was reasonable to question a teammate about the man in the hat, and Shino was acting just like Sasuke remembered him, reserved, pragmatic, and to the point. Now Sasuke just had to extract Kato's intel, and he would also have Karin in dog form to back him up. Sasuke didn't know where the meeting was going to be held. He tried to get this information from Crystal citizens before he infiltrated the Leaf Team, but no one knew. The meeting was not secret, but its location certainly was. Knowing the location would help, but asking Shino right now would just raise suspicion. Also, there was a chance only Tsunade knew anyway. Sasuke would just have to wait for an opening, or wait for an opening to create an opening. Sasuke and Shino didn't sleep. Shino remained concentrated, scouting with his bugs, but apparently he found nothing the whole night. Sasuke stayed awake to keep his transformation jutsu activated, and also to pretend he was on guard looking for potential enemies. Eventually, the sun rose behind the rain clouds, which still poured down in Crystal City. The inn hostess brought them breakfast, but Shino chose not to eat, saying that the enemy could poison prepared food like that. Instead, he ate his own rations. Sasuke chose not to eat, just like Shino did, which prompted Shino to ask, "Aren't you gonna eat anything? You have to be at full strength in case the enemy attacks during the summit." "I'm not hungry. I ate a lot in the tavern yesterday. Besides, we haven't slept at all. We're not gonna be in top condition anyway." Sasuke had rations of his own, but they would be different from Kiba's. Eating them in front of Shino would just give him away. At around 9 AM, Tsunade and Anko knocked on the door and entered the room. Anko looked like she had an awful hangover, but Tsunade seemed fine. "Shino, you almost gave me a heart attack when I woke up to that inferno of bugs," Anko said, sounding tired. It was for your safety, Captain. I apologize for the inconvenience." "Safety?" Shino proceeded to tell them his suspicions about the man in the hat being Sasuke or perhaps an Akatsuki member, and refresh their memory on what happened yesterday in a tavern, seeing that they were both severely intoxicated and could have forgotten many things. "Well, we must stay on guard during the summit then. If someone attacks, we must make sure no one gets hurt. Only the attacker," Tsunade said, though she didn't look worried. "Let's get going." A few minutes later, they were walking in the rain, heading towards where the summit would be held. Tsunade led the party. The crystal streets were less busy than yesterday, certainly because of the weather, but there were still people walking around and going about their day, some even staring at the group. They arrived at an ancient-looking building made out of thick blocks of stone on the outskirts of Crystal City. 4 officials of the Land of Crystals dressed in formal attire waited for them. "Welcome, Leaf Village Committee. We hope your stay in the Land of Crystals has been satisfactory," one official said. "It has. Thank you very much for your hospitality," Tsunade replied. "If you could please follow me, I will take you to the great atrium, where the summit will be held. Akamaru, stay out here and scout for any suspicious activity. We'll be back soon," Sasuke told Karin, prompting her to remain outside and attempt to track Kato. The rest of the group followed the crystal official into the building, and the first thing Sasuke saw in there were dozens of empty ticket booths. What kind of place was this? A circus? It didn't look like that from the outside. The official took them around the booths and into a door that was all the way in the back of the building. They entered a well-decorated room with paintings that depicted the history of the Land of Crystals. One of them showed the great massacre Madara Uchiha promoted on their land long ago, but Sasuke was almost caught off guard when he saw a painting of himself on the wall. It was him, Naruto, Sakura, and the other members of the Leaf Village who came to the rescue of the Land of Crystals long ago. It was strange seeing himself painted in a good light like that. "For the day the Uchiha clan redeemed itself with the Land of Crystals," was the caption below the picture. And then Sasuke saw the one next to it, a memorial picture of an old lady who had died, the same lady who believed in Sasuke during their mission and gave him the red cloak of crystals as a gift. She told him that he wouldn't be the same as Madara Uchiha was in the past, and encouraged him to continue with the mission. Sasuke never used the cloak, but he was sad to learn about her death. The crystal official led him down a large metal elevator. It wasn't completely closed, they could still see the rock. "This facility was the first mine founded in the Land of Crystals. After it ran out of crystals, it was converted into the great atrium where grand events can be held. It has the capacity for almost 20,000 spectators, and it's located over 100 meters underground. Naturally, today's meeting will have no audience." He started the elevator down the shaft. It made sense. This elevator reminded Sasuke of a mine elevator. It's probably been there since the mine was founded, but it was really slow. 20,000? I didn't know Crystal City had so many people, Anko said. "It doesn't. The city has about 15,000 inhabitants, but the great atrium is meant to attract people from all around the Land of Crystals and beyond. Usually the spectators use the stairs to go to the arena, but our esteemed guests such as yourselves are naturally taken down with the elevators. I assume none of you have been here before?" The Leaf team confirmed the official's assumption. "That's not unexpected. It was inaugurated only 2 years ago, thanks to the diplomatic efforts of the Land of Fire towards the Land of Crystals. It's a grand sight. You'll be very pleased to see it, and feel free to return whenever you can for an entertainment entertainment event here. I can arrange the best seats in the house free of charge. So much politics. Sasuke had absolutely no interest nor patience for that, but he remained quiet, keeping his guard high. One thing that upset Sasuke about all this is that the meeting would be held deep underground. The possibility of reinforcements to arrive, should anything go wrong, were practically null. He would have to be extra careful extracting Kato's intel. The elevator finally stopped with a thud, and the official opened the door. He led the party through a narrow but well-lit hallway that resembled a cave, but the walls and rocks had smooth edges. When they emerged from the hallway, Sasuke was met with an impressive sight. It was at the grounds of a massive underground stadium. The stands were perfectly circular and surrounded the arena grounds where Sasuke and the Leaf Ninjas stood. The seats were carved from the rock itself and adorned with elegant cushions. Sasuke suspected that the Land of Crystals hired some stone ninjas to carve this place with ninjutsu because of its intricate construction. It may have been a mine before, but it was certainly not as large as this. The seats were devoid of any spectators. Sasuke could only hear the sounds of their footsteps, which cast an eerie quality to the place. A relatively small 4-seat table was put in the middle of the arena grounds. The piece of furniture seemed out of place, and the way the arena itself dwarfed it was almost comical. Kurotsuchi sat in one of the chairs, as the other two members of her party flanked her, but were on their feet. Another man, likely the leader of the Land of Crystal, sat on another chair. A dozen officials wearing garments like the one leading the Leaf Party stood close to the table as well. Sasuke deduced that the two other chairs were for Tsunade and the meteor Kato, who Sasuke needed to extract intel from. However, he wasn't there. They approached the table, and Tsunade gave Kurotsuchi a curt nod. She then turned around and looked at her own party. "Very well then. Shall we begin?" "Remain still, Sasuke Uchiha," Shino said, standing from behind Sasuke. He held his index finger at Sasuke's neck, where a pitch-black, glistening ant, the side of his finger, sat and pointed its sting at Sasuke's jugular, only a few millimeters away from the skin. "I hold at your neck the Black Death, the most potent insect of the Aburame clan. You may think it's called the Black Death because its venom is lethal, but it is not. However, it still kills. A single drop of the venom can paralyze an elephant, but not because it attacks the muscles or nervous system, simply because of the amount of pain it inflicts. It consumes you, overpowers all other senses, and it is impossible to relieve with medicine or even in jutsu. Cutting off a stung limb would also not work, for the brain continues to process the pain even though the venom is no longer there. This ant is called the Black Death because whoever it stings takes their own life to end the pain. No one has ever lasted the 24 hours it takes for the venom to wear off. According to the Aburame clan records, the record is 17 hours, and if you pull away Sasuke Uchiha, you will feel that venom." That was impressive. Sasuke's respect for Shino increased. He dispelled the transformation jutsu, reverting his appearance from Kiba back to himself. "What gave me away?" "The cloth piece. I used that cloth to wipe Lady Tsunade's sweat when she was passed out drunk in the tavern. Kiba would have recognized her smell in a heartbeat." "Well played. I imagine that could have been a trap. I didn't see any cloth when you grabbed my arm in the tavern, but I wasn't looking at your hand when you touched me. Still, the way you set it up left me with no options other than going along with it. I thought the rain would give me a good excuse as to why I couldn't track the man in the hat if you had really gotten my scent. It was easy to confirm your identity. There were no downsides to using that technique. I have to commend you. You're quite brave for standing in a room with the enemy the whole night, keeping your composure, all to pretend you suspected nothing and lure me in. It wasn't bravery. I was just fulfilling my mission with competence, unlike the others." "Where are Kiba and Akamaru?" Tsunade demanded. "I assure you they are both fine. Perhaps a bit bruised, but otherwise fine." "Tell me right now, Sasuke Uchiha!" Sasuke ignored her. "I take it you weren't scouting with your bugs during the night, but coordinating this trap?" "That is correct. My insects can form clear characters and relay messages. I informed the stone ninjas you were infiltrated in our ranks, and Kurotsuchi coordinated with the Crystal City officials so that the meeting would be secretly postponed. So these officials are clones. The fat man in the Stone Village party weaved a seal, and the Land of Crystals officials all turned into mud. My mud clones? Did you like the tour I gave you? I've been here 5 times, but they had some great shows. Now it is the time for you to surrender, Sasuke Uchiha. You're trapped. My Black Death is on your neck, and you can't fly away using your curse mark wings when underground. You'll get no reinforcements. I chose this venue specifically for you. Sasuke chuckled. So the meeting wasn't even supposed to be here then? No, only Lady Tsunade knew the original venue. But once she woke up, my toe biters informed her of the situation and the changing venue. The Stone Ninjas helped me out with that change. Good grief. If you weren't here, everything would have worked, and none of you would even know I was around. Where are Kiba and Akamaru? Tsunade demanded again, raising her voice, which echoed around the empty arena. Calm down, Tsunade. It looks like you're the one who has an end to the the neck. I swear if you did anything to them. As I said, they are fine. And to be honest, this situation makes things more straightforward. Let's make a deal, Tsunade.
You're in no position to negotiate.
If you wish to see Kiba and his dog again, I suggest you listen to my proposal. Tsunade bit her thumbnail. She winced, considering what Sasuke said. Fine, speak. My visit to the Land of Crystals has nothing to do with the leaf, or the stone for that matter. I never intended to hurt any of you or infiltrate your ranks. I'm here after information that the mediator of this summit possesses. What information? Well, I won't tell you that unless you agree to my proposal.
And what is it?
Take me to Kato, the mediator. I'll extract the information and leave him untouched, and then I'll leave this place. In exchange, I will kill Itachi for the Leaf Village.
That's just what you've been after this whole time. It's a senseless deal.
Doesn't the Leaf wish to eliminate him as well? Isn't he one of the most infamous rogue ninjas in the entire world? None of your ninjas are capable of defeating him. If you send a team comprised of your 20 most powerful ninjas to take him out, maybe you have a slim chance of succeeding, but most of them will die in the process, and it's only a slim chance that you succeed anyway. You underestimate the Leaf. No, I do not. I've seen firsthand what your most capable ninja can do. Trust me when I say you have no chance against Itachi. Just let me do it. Someone that's not in your ranks, not in your village, take that risk. I have prepared my whole life to face him, and if you get me Kato's intel, I might just succeed. You're far more arrogant than I thought if you think that, and after I kill Itachi, I'll return to the Leaf Village and stand trial for whatever crimes I've committed. It was finally clear to Sasuke. This is what he should do after he killed Itachi. Of course, there was a good chance he would have to sacrifice his life to take Itachi with him, but if he survived, his life would continue. Return to the Leaf Village seemed only natural. You can't expect me to believe this. I'm serious. My goal is to kill Itachi. I don't care what happens after that, so if you wish me captured, I will willingly offer myself after my vengeance. I am not naive, Sasuke. You're caught in our trap, and now you're trying to talk your way out of it. I swear in the honor of the Uchiha clan. You want to bring me back because of Naruto, don't you? If you accept this deal, he'll have what he wants, and so will you. And Itachi will be dead. I've already killed Orochimaru, one of the Leaf's most wanted rogue ninjas, who killed the previous Hokage and assaulted the village with his forces. You only stand to gain if you let me take Kato's intel. Kurotsuchi felt a coldness, and she couldn't believe her eyes. Sasuke was completely surrounded by enemies, cornered, and he maintained absolute tranquility, as if he was having a friendly discussion in his living room, eating cookies and sipping tea. Thinking from Tsunade's perspective, the deal Sasuke offered seemed great, though he could always be lying or overestimating his own strength. But still, for him to be speaking so nonchalantly in a situation like this, he's either a complete fool or he's just that strong. And Kurotsuchi got a feeling it was the latter, seeing she had fought him here before and he was quite capable from a very young age. Shino's insects told Kurotsuchi that if his plan succeeded, which it just did, the chances of them apprehending Sasuke without a fight would be 90%. His bugs told her that they would only have to fight Sasuke if he tried to engage all 6 of them at the same time, which seemed absolutely insane at the time, but there's always the 10%, and for how calm Sasuke was acting, perhaps he wouldn't mind taking on 6 powerful ninjas, including a Kage at the same time. No, I refuse, Tsunade said. Why then have you been searching for me so long? To bring me back and arrest me? Why not just kill me then? The Leaf Village must deal with its rogue ninjas by the letter of the law. Naruto pleaded for your life, and because you haven't stepped out of line too much, I granted his wish. And indeed, you killed Orochimaru, which we're grateful for, but the Leaf cannot open negotiations with rogue ninjas. It's not a good precedent. Let it be on the record that I gave you a choice. Tsunade's face turned into rage. A choice? You? You have no idea the pain you've caused. Your clan died, sure, but you cannot move on. You hurt your friends, bodies and minds just because of that foolish revenge of yours. You abandoned the village that raised you as a shinobi and crawled to Orochimaru, the scum of the earth, all because you wanted to do everything alone. Naruto and Kakashi told me everything. You believe your loneliness will strengthen you, but that's a weakness. Sasuke's expression began to sour. You will never succeed in that path because your means are wrong. You've committed several crimes to get here, and if you were Naruto's friend, I would have already ordered Shino to sting you. This is your final chance to stand down, Sasuke Uchiha. 6 against 1 is an unfair fight. You're beaten. Kurotsuchi, Anko, Akatsuchi, and Itan hardened their battle stances. Consider what you're about to do, Sasuke Uchiha. Silence! He bellowed, and his booming voice hit the arena at the same time he activated his Sharingan. Tsunade stumbled back in surprise, and Kurotsuchi froze. The power of his aura was palpable. Kurotsuchi felt the rage in his roar, as if a drop of an ocean of hatred had leaked. A white snake mouth appeared on Sasuke's neck, right where Shino was holding his ant at, and the snake leaped out of Sasuke's skin towards Shino. The ant stung the inside of the snake's mouth, but Shino had to pull away before he was bitten, as the snake fell to the ground, writhing in pain, but Sasuke was fine. He stomped the Black Death ant, which Shino let fall, cracking the ground, but then he breathed in, as his expression returned to serenity again, and he chuckled. 6 against 1 is indeed an unfair fight. For you. Tsunade cracked her knuckles. I was hoping you'd say that. It's been a while since I've had a real fight. She dashed at Sasuke, cracking the ground underneath her heels. Sasuke's Sharingan Tomoe spun, and he clashed against Hokage in a taijutsu exchange. Her fists glowed with chakra, and Sasuke knew he couldn't let those hit him. Tsunade wasn't slow, but Sasuke had no trouble predicting her strikes with his eyes. Using his superior speed to dodge and redirect her blows without touching her fists, he was an advantage. But he couldn't only focus on the Hokage. He shot glances at all 6 enemies, moving the Sharingan rapidly to look around the entire room. A thin line of magma that Kurotsuchi spat beamed towards Sasuke's face. He ducked down, avoiding the lava, but that left him exposed to a knee strike from Tsunade, aiming straight to his nose. Sasuke opened his mouth, and a white snake leaped out of it, wrapping itself around Tsunade's leg, which slowed her attack, allowing Sasuke to dodge. Tsunade exploded the snake's head with her hand squirting blood out of her fist before it could bite her, but that gave Sasuke time to sidestep Tsunade, moving to where her guard was open. Sasuke threw a left hook, putting all of his power in it. He hit Tsunade's chin with a loud crack. He expected to launch Tsunade away with the force of his attack, but her head barely even moved. Sasuke felt a sharp pain on his knuckles, as if he had just punched a steel wall. He followed through with a right uppercut to her chin again, and a roundhouse kick to her liver, attacking the most vulnerable points in taijutsu combat, but she didn't even flinch. She just casually ate his attacks and re-engaged with her fists. Taijutsu wouldn't be the way to go against her. Anko appeared 5 meters behind Sasuke's back and launched half a dozen dark snakes towards him. As Tsunade assaulted him from the front, Sasuke weaved a one-handed seal, summoning a kunai to his right hand. He slashed at the head of 2 snakes at the same time and diverted a kick from Tsunade. Sasuke threw a push kick at her side, which ever so slightly unbalanced the Hokage, and then he beheaded 3 more snakes with a single slash. The final snake attacked from below, but Sasuke jumped and threw the kunai at the snake's head. Sasuke landed, stepping on the kunai and nailing the snake to the ground. Anko used that snake as a hook to pull herself against Sasuke at great speed. She aimed a kick at Sasuke, but he raised his right hand, blocking her shin. Sasuke recoiled back from the power of the blow as Anko landed next to him. Tsunade turned around and saw Sasuke stumbling. She threw a kick at Sasuke's torso. He had to throw his upper body to the ground, bending back his knees in 120 degrees, using his hands to support his body and not hit his head on the ground. Sasuke saw Tsunade passing above him. The ground beneath him began to crack. Sasuke launched himself to the right, spinning sideways and dodging a 2-meter tall stone golem that erupted out of the ground, throwing a punch at Sasuke. Akatsuchi created that golem. He was kneeling with both of his hands buried on the ground, 20 meters away from Sasuke. Before Sasuke landed from his jump, Kurotsuchi intercepted him and threw her fist, covered in stone, at him. The golem's attack directed Sasuke to her. A white snake wrapped itself around Sasuke's arm, which he used to block Kurotsuchi's punch. Her stone fist crushed the snake, but his arm was fine. He landed, and Kurotsuchi aimed another punch. Sasuke dodged it and counterattacked, throwing a punch her stomach. She grunted, but Sasuke thought the punch would have been much more effective. Kurotsuchi coated her stomach with a thick layer of rock, which Sasuke's punch cracked, but it took the brunt of the attack. Sasuke swept her legs, dropping Kurotsuchi down, but before he could follow through, Akatsuchi launched large spikes that emerged from the ground, aiming at him. Sasuke jumped away to avoid them, and Tsunade was on him. He kept on avoiding her strikes as Anko launched more snakes. Sasuke jumped away to avoid them, once more rising in the air, but Itan was 10 meters above him, up high. He had jumped before and held 2 sickles that were glowing with chakra. He tossed them down and they spinned rapidly. White snakes emerged from Sasuke's sleeve. They bit the ground as Sasuke was in the air, and he used them to pull himself away from the sickles, which hit the ground below. As soon as Sasuke landed, Tsunade appeared from above, aiming a downward kick at him. He dashed backwards as Tsunade impacted the middle of the arena grounds, exploding it and making a crater that shot rocks in all directions. Earth style! Rock needle!
needles!
Akatsuchi turned the airborne rocks into needles which shot towards Sasuke. Itan began to fall from behind Sasuke and used his jutsu to recall his cycles that were pierced on the ground back to his hands. Sasuke weaved a one-handed seal. His Chidori hand ignited in lightning and he shot Chidori needles at the earth needles. Lightning style overcame earth style and Sasuke's needles obliterated Akatsuchi's, and they continued to cruise the air towards Tsunade. Itan landed behind Sasuke, dual-wielding his glowing sickles and slashed at him, who ducked down. Tsunade dodged in between the barrage of Chidori needles and dashed at Sasuke. At the same time, Anko flanked him with Itan, engaging him with taijutsu. Akatsuchi's stone golem tossed Kurotsuchi towards Sasuke and she cut the air, ready to strike with her stone fist. As Sasuke was about to land a kick on Anko's head, Tsunade reached them and blocked with her forearm. Sasuke saw Kurotsuchi flying towards him from the opposite side. He intercepted Itan's sickle attack, grabbing his wrist and breaking it. The man yelled in pain. At the same time, his Sharingan met Tsunade's eyes and he cast a paralysis genjutsu on her. Sasuke then grabbed Itan by the stone village's vest and hoisted him up. Itan's body was turned upside down midair and Sasuke held him as a human shield against Kurotsuchi's airborne assault. She immediately deactivated her stone fist a split second before she hit Itan. She couldn't change trajectory midair. Kurotsuchi pulled the punch, but she hit her own ally. She landed close to Sasuke and growled in frustration. Sasuke then landed a massive punch on Itan's stomach while he was still hoisted. Itan felt his insides breaking and spat blood as he was launched dozens of meters away, bouncing on the ground. Tsunade attacked Sasuke from behind. He managed to dodge it, but was almost caught off guard. It took only a split second before she broke out of the genjutsu. Anko was close to her, but she couldn't have done it so fast. Before Itan could impact the arena wall, Akatsuchi's golem intercepted him, softening the blow. Itan grunted in pain, spitting more blood, almost unconscious. Tsunade, Kurotsuchi, and Anko all engaged Sasuke in taijutsu at the same time. Sasuke moved at full speed, dodging attacks, redirecting blows. The three kunoichi gave their all to strike him, but Sasuke was quick. He managed to counterattack, but his regular taijutsu strikes weren't effective against Kurotsuchi, who coated her body with stone, or Tsunade, who seemed to be made out of stone. Sasuke then tried to hit Anko before the other two, but Tsunade understood Anko's vulnerability and fought in a formation to protect her. Akatsuchi also used his long-range earth-style ninjutsu to protect her or attack Sasuke when there was an opening. Shino stood away from the melee, observing the fight with his all-knowing dark goggles. He held the ram hand seal and was sending chakra to one of his large gourds, which glowed bright golden. They really thought this through. Engaging Sasuke in taijutsu and trying to overwhelm him as long-range fighters provide support was a good strategy. They could keep Sasuke's genjutsu at bay when they were close to each other. However, that would be effective if only one of them was caught in a genjutsu. Sasuke dodged a punch from Kurotsuchi. She was averting her gaze, as it is wise to do against Uchiha fighters. Sasuke then grabbed her hair and turned her head to face her eyes towards his, casting a paralysis genjutsu. Anko and Tsunade came to her rescue, attacking Sasuke from opposite sides. Before they touched him, Sasuke crossed his hands and pointed his index fingers, one at each kunoichi, putting both of them under an ephemeral genjutsu simultaneously. The three women froze, but a split second later, they regained their movements and attacked Sasuke. Luckily for him, the genjutsu bought Sasuke time to dodge and dash away. Akatsuchi, however, spat rocks, forcing Sasuke to duck and slow down, allowing the three kunoichi to catch up to him, and the stone golem also joined them in the fray. They were pressing Sasuke, but he understood how they broke out of his genjutsu. It wasn't them, it was Shino. When he sent his insects to scout and informed the stone ninjas Tsunade and Anko about his plan, he must have left some insects with them, knowing he could be facing Sasuke in a battle. The insects would remain hidden in their clothes. That way, their smaller chakra signature could blend in with the ninjas and Sasuke's Sharingan would not pick up on it. They could then release chakra to dispel the genjutsu, and do that indefinitely, as the bugs could drain chakra from the ninja and then use it to break the genjutsu away. In that case... One of Anko's snakes spat venom against Sasuke's eyes, but he dodged it in time. The golem shot pebbles from its fingers, predicting where he would go to avoid the venom, and Tsunade was about to kick him in the legs. A snake emerged from Sasuke's back, blocking the pebbles, and he jumped backwards, avoiding Tsunade's low kick. However, Kurotsuchi was hidden behind the golem, and as Sasuke was coming backwards, she landed a powerful stone fist punch to Sasuke's ribs. Sasuke winced in pain as Tsunade, Anko, and the golem prepared to rush him all at the same time, using that moment to finish the fight fight. Sasuke weaved one-handed seals. Chidori Stream! Lightning exploded from Sasuke's body, hitting the three kunoichis and destroying the stone golem. Anko and Kurotsuchi screamed in pain, falling to the ground, but Tsunade didn't flinch.
Earth style! Moving core!
Akatsuchi moved the ground underneath Anko and Kurotsuchi, taking them out of the range of the lightning stream, but Tsunade dashed at Sasuke, ignoring the lightning pandemonium enveloping her.
Lady Tsunade, fall back!
Shino yelled, realizing what Sasuke just did. She didn't listen. Sasuke dodged her incoming punch and looked straight into her eyes. Tsunade felt large metal rods piercing all of her body. She couldn't move. The Chidori stream had destroyed the insects hiding in Tsunade's clothes and couldn't dispel the genjutsu. Sasuke weaved one-handed signs and touched her chest with his left hand. Chain lightning! Lightning ignited out of Sasuke's hand and crossed Tsunade. Twin lightning bolts exited her back and leaped towards Kurotsuchi and Anko, who were still struggling on the ground.
Earth style! Mud wall!
Akatsuchi erected two earth walls in front of the fallen kunoichi. The lightning bolts exploded them, but the two women were fine. Sasuke's jutsu broke Tsunade out of his own genjutsu, but amazingly, she was still standing and barely winded after a lightning bolt crossed her torso. Sasuke dashed backwards as Kurotsuchi and Anko stood up. Tsunade's chest moldered from Sasuke's jutsu, and Shino released insects from his sleeve. They divided themselves and entered the clothes of the other ninjas. He destroyed my insects with his lightning style. I couldn't break you out, Lady Tsunade. You must be careful.
This feels weird. Oh, I'm never gonna get used to it.
Kurotsuchi said as the bugs entered her clothes.
It tickles!
Akatsuchi said, giggling and checking on Itan. He was hurt, but alive. You can stop this madness any moment you want, Tsunade. Accept my deal. You cannot defeat me. One of yours has already gone down, Sasuke said, pointing at Itan.
Shut your mouth, brat!
I guess you really don't want to see Kiba and his dog again. We'll make you tell us once you're captured. The hypocrisy in this room is astounding. You claim the moral high ground, and yet you almost accepted Orochimaru's offer to bring her boyfriend and little brother back. Oh no, they died. You want them back, don't you, Tsunade? Guess killing some Edo Tensei sacrifices wouldn't be so bad. Do you miss him that much? I, on the other hand, lost everyone. And instead of crying like a pathetic little girl, I do something about it.
I told you to shut your—
Wait, Lady Tsunade! Shino yelled, touching her shoulder. Tsunade had never seen Shino speaking so loudly. He's trying to goad you. Don't fall for it. She stopped herself and breathed deeply. And once again, the Hokage is saved by the only level-headed member of her party. Sasuke said, chuckling. Lady Tsunade, I think you ought to consider his offer. If we fight more, someone could get seriously hurt. Shino whispered. Nonsense, Shino. I'm not handing out some mediator and risking the treaty we have with the Land of Crystals and the Land of Earth breaking because of the whims of a rogue ninja. As tempting as the deal sounds. Besides, he's obviously lying. Don't be so naive. Shino coiled back. His gourd still gave off golden light as he infused it with chakra. And what about you, Anko Mitarashi? Shouldn't you be more thankful? I succeeded where you failed, after all. What do you mean? Orochimaru told me about your little encounter in the Forest of Death. You tried to kill him with a twin snake sacrifice, but failed. I, on the other hand, destroyed him. But you don't seem too pleased about his demise, do you? Could it be that, in a sadistic way, you grew fond of your old master, unable to break away from him, and deep down, you dearly miss him and the way he treated you? The man who tormented you and used you as a guinea pig. And that's why you had to be the one to kill him, dying in the process. You had to be there with him to share that final moment.
I'm loyal to the Leaf, not a rogue ninja like you!
Strange. He taught you the hidden shadow snake jutsu, his signature ability. He never taught that anybody else ever again, not even me. Perhaps there was something special between you and him, Anko.
That's a lie. You used that jutsu just now.
Because I absorbed his powers, not because he taught me. Do you secretly wish that you were me? That you were the one he chose the body to inhabit?
Shut up!
Calm yourself, Captain Anko. We mustn't fall for his provocations, Shino said.
Shino,
don't hold back. If you have a clear shot with your ants, sting him, Tsunade said, going over Itan and administering some healing ninjutsu on him. He wouldn't be able to fight anymore, but he would be stable. Shino kept on sending his chakra to his ultimate gourd. Using my flying lice wouldn't be effective. Sasuke would see their minuscule form with his Sharingan because they emit chakra. They're also very vulnerable to fire and lightning. It would destroy them easily. My regular insects are also vulnerable to them, meaning it's best to keep them them in reserve to break all of us free from genjutsus. The toe biters are strong, they can tank hits, but they're not fast enough to catch Sasuke or even swarm him. And unlike Neji, Sasuke possesses formidable genjutsu and ninjutsu that could destroy them. The Black Death Ants are certainly potent, but they're the slowest insect I have, and they cannot fly. Lady Tsunade just commanded to sting Sasuke with them, but to do that, I'll need to create an opening. The only way I can do that is by using my trump card, but those consume a lot of chakra. Shino thought in a split second as he kept pumping his chakra into the gourd, which was almost blinding to look at. Sasuke had to get out of there. If they were not giving him any intel, then this fight was pointless to him. The problem was that Akatsuchi had sealed all the arena exits as he was engaged in taijutsu with the three kunoichis. And even if he escaped somehow, it was not as though they couldn't search for him and pursue him in the surface. I could reverse summon myself and have Suigetsu summon me back at the mountain peak, but then they would search for us frantically. We still have Kiba and Akamaru, so we can use them to negotiate. But if I just escape, we'll never get Kato's intel. Not unless most of them are incapacitated so that they won't be able to look for us right away. Or at least they'll be too slow to catch us. Kurotsuchi and Anko weren't weak, but the real problem for Sasuke was Tsunade. She had massive chakra reserves and could prolong this fight indefinitely by healing and providing additional chakra to her allies. If Sasuke was to escape and get Kato's intel, he had to make her spend much more chakra than she already had, and create a good distraction. Fortunately for him, Orochimaru told him a lot about Tsunade. She was the sitting Hokage after all, and they were bound to run into leaf ninjas eventually. But in this situation, Sasuke would have to be forceful. If we're really to capture him, we must unleash our most potent abilities. Lady Tsunade, you shall lead the charge, Shino said, and the Hokage nodded. Kurotsuchi, use a large-scale magma style. They'll be far more effective than your earth-style enhanced taijutsu. No offense. Well, I know that. I was just trying to contain myself so I wouldn't destroy this arena. It looks really expensive. Did you look at those cushions? She pointed at the seats on the arena stands. Don't worry about that. The Land of Fire will compensate the Land of Crystals for any property damage. Focus on capturing the Uchiha, Tsunade said. Well, alright then, Kurotsuchi said, excited. Akatsuchi, you'll be the support. Protect anyone who's vulnerable with your earth style, and use your long-range attacks when you see an opening. Akatsuchi nodded. Captain Anko, you'll be in reserve. Sasuke possesses the same jutsu as you. He knows how to counter you the best. Only engage if there's a clear opportunity. Shino wasn't confident in his captain. She still seemed shaken after what Sasuke told her. Best to keep her back. And what about you, Shino? I'll be the trump card, Shino said, uncorking his glowing golden gourd. Kiba woke up completely disoriented. He only remembered Sasuke interrupting the best moment of his life and punching him in the face. It took a few moments for him to realize he couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't see. He was completely restrained and laid on hard ground in a very uncomfortable position, as his arms were tied together and so were his legs. He shook his body, looking for any weaknesses in his restraints, but they just wouldn't budge. Kiba could smell Akamaru close to him, and also two people who were in there, and he could also smell the faint scent of Sasuke Uchiha. What? He woke up? I thought the genjutsu will last longer. Don't do anything. Sasuke told us to just watch over him, and we still haven't seen any fire in the sky. He could know something. The Leaf team had no intel on Kato. Sasuke extracted everything he could from them. I don't mean Kato, stupid. I mean Sasuke. This dude used to know him before he became Orochimaru's golden boy. I don't see how that's important. You lack imagination. Someone removed Kiba's blindfold. He was in a dark cave. He saw Akamaru close to him, unconscious and gagged. Kiba sighed in relief when he saw his dog was breathing, and he didn't seem hurt. A sheet of water covered the entrance of the cave as rain hit it from the outside, and two men looked at him. One of them was skinny and had white hair. The other one was tall, large, and had orange hair. That one smelled like blood. Hey pal, I'd like to ask you a few questions about Sasuke, alright? If you lie or do anything stupid, I'll slap you, the skinny guy said. He removed Kiba's gag, and Kiba bit his finger, intending to sever it. To his surprise, the finger unraveled without much force from Kiba's bite. It was very easy to sever it. And instead of blood, Kiba just tasted water. He didn't hear any screams of pain from the guy as he anticipated. Instead, the skinny guy slapped him hard, burning his cheek. I told you not to try anything funny, dog man, he said, pointing the same finger Kiba just bit off at him. What the hell was going on? How did he regenerate his finger so fast? Now tell me, what was Sasuke like when he was a kid? Burning hell, you scum! Kiba took another slap to the face. If I slap one dude, I can do something a bit more permanent.
He unsheathed the sword and pointed it at Akamaru. Sasuke told me not to kill y'all, but maybe it could just sever a leg. Have you seen a three-legged dog? It's the funniest shit. What kind of monster was he? Of course, Kiba had seen three-legged dogs before. Many Inuzuka clan dogs have taken several battle wounds, and it was the least funny thing in the world. If you touch Akamaru, Kiba took another slap. At this rate, he's gonna be a two-legged dog if you don't start answering my damn questions. Sasuke was dumb. He was a total loser. Kiba took another slap. Lies! Stop coping. All the girls loved him. They found him cute for some reason, but he's ugly. And, well, he never cared about them, and he was a pretentious brat too. That checks out. I suppose the guys would be very jealous of him, but the girls, oh man. Did he have any actual friends? Or just groupies? I guess he had a couple. Naruto was his best friend or something, I don't know. Isn't that the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails? Yeah, they were like a dog and a cat. Total opposites. Always arguing or fighting, trying to one-up each other, but deep down, they couldn't live without each other. It was annoying. What? So Sasuke tosses kunais and needles? No, not like that, you idiot. They're just... Kiba took another slap, a harder one this time. What now? I didn't lie! Don't call me an idiot, you idiot. They were friends. They had their differences, but they went through a lot of crap together, I suppose. Sasuke defended Naruto with tooth and nails, and vice versa, but they pretended it wasn't a big deal and they didn't care for each other, but in the end of the day, they kind of loved each other. What about girls? Was there a special one for Sasuke? One that was his favorite? You know, maybe not, one he showed affection towards, but one that was more of his little pet? I mean, I guess there was Sakura. Do tell. They were teammates too. It was Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, and she had a massive crush on Sasuke, but Sasuke didn't reciprocate that much. Was he annoyed that she had a crush on him? No, not really. What? That's huge! That's freaking huge! What do you mean huge? Well, for Sasuke, tolerating someone might as well be a declaration of love. Well, now that you think about it, everything's a little fuzzy, but last night, he asked me if Sakura was alive before he put me under a genjutsu. What? That's insanely huge! He still cares about a girl in the leaf! Damn, is she hot? I mean, she's kind of flat-chested, but she is pretty. She has nice pink hair, and, well, I guess she has nice legs and a pretty good rear. Do you know what that means, Juugo? That Sasuke's bonds to the Leaf Village haven't been completely severed and that he may discard us once Itachi is dead? No, you idiot! That Sasuke's an S-guy! Thank you so much, Dogman! You have no idea how useful you were, the skinny guy said with a devious smile, and he began to slap Kiba's face non-stop on both cheeks. Ah! Why are you still slapping me? I don't know, man. Your face is so slappable. He said, cackling in laughter, but as Kiba's face received a palm assault, the guy slapping him was oblivious to it, but the big guy had a terrible look on his face. He was sweating, and it looked like he just had the worst stomachache. A golden cloud emerged from Shino's gourd. From afar, it looked like 1,000 shiny golden coins that flew around him. Those were Shino's most powerful insects, the golden thief bugs. Shino was the first Aburame clan member in history to find and master them. They were so rare, many people from his clan thought they were just a fable. He found them during one of his travels on a small island in the land of water. This variety was different from any other insect he had. Their carapace was shiny and golden, and they were beautiful. Even non-Aburame clan members found them quite pretty to look at. They couldn't drain chakra like most Aburame clan insects, so Shino had to provide his own to empower them. The more he gave them, the more powerful they became, and they consumed a lot of it. However, that steep chakra cost came with a reward. The golden thief bugs made no noise whatsoever as they flew. Their wings beat so fast, it was impossible to see them in motion, and they were extremely fast for it. They could change their flight direction abruptly, like a firefly, but were much faster when doing so, and their most powerful aspect was their defensive capabilities. They were extremely durable and could withstand powerful elemental ninjutsu. They didn't have powerful physical attacks or chakra drainage, but they also had more subtle special abilities. With a mental command, all golden thief bugs coalesced into a dense cloud hovering close to the ground. It was almost uncanny how fast and coordinated they were when flying together. Lady Tsunade, use my flying platform to approach him. Kurotsuchi, launch your magma style to create an opening. Don't worry about hitting my bugs. Lady Tsunade
Tsunade jumped on the golden cloud, directing chakra to her feet and sticking herself to it. Kurotsuchi weaved signs.
Earth style! Seismic fissure!
She stomped the ground in front of her, and a crack began to form, darting towards Sasuke. The ground began to split apart, and before the fissure reached Sasuke, he jumped high. The ground opened into a chasm where he had been standing. Magma style!
Mantle ejection!
Glowing magma erupted out of the chasm like an infernal geyser. The molten rock spewed towards Sasuke, who was midair. He weaved a hand seal and launched a snake from his sleeve, which wrapped itself around one of the arena seats, and Sasuke pulled himself towards the stands. A few drops of lava still hit Sasuke's side, singeing his skin, but he got away mostly unharmed. He landed on one of the chairs almost 20 meters above the arena grounds, and observed the gargantuan column of magma hitting the ceiling of the underground arena over 50 meters above the fissure it ejected from. He felt the intense heat of the lava hitting his face, even though he was about 50 meters away from it. The seat cushions that were closer to the geyser began to burn, even though the lava didn't touch them directly. Something carved a hole through the magma geyser. It was Tsunade, hovering on top of the golden swarm of insects. They flew through the lava in a bowl shape to protect the Hokage from the jet of molten rock that was launching from underneath. The magma did nothing to hurt the bugs, and they didn't allow a single drop to touch Tsunade. None of them died from the heat. Tsunade used the geyser to block Sasuke's line of sight, to only let him know she was approaching after she was much closer than he would anticipate. As soon as the bugs exited the lava, the swarm turned into a flat platform which turned 90 degrees and pointed Tsunade, who used her chakra to stand on a vertical surface, towards Sasuke. He weaved one-handed seals as Tsunade jumped, blasting her airborne platform the opposite direction and beamed towards Sasuke. Sasuke spat an incandescent fireball. It hit Tsunade midair, who was between the geyser and Sasuke, exploding in a flash of light and a powerful shockwave. However, Tsunade didn't even register it. She was still darting through the air. Her skin was not even singed, and she prepared to punch Sasuke. The magma geyser stopped, and Sasuke jumped up. For a split second, the arena was eerily quiet. Sasuke saw Tsunade's fist erupting with chakra. The combined additional speed she got from the cloud of bugs with the impulsion of the platform itself made her attack much faster than Sasuke thought it could have been. The fireball jutsu was a mistake. He should have just gotten out of the way immediately. His jump wasn't going to completely clear her strike. Tsunade's punch missed Sasuke's torso as he jumped up, but she hit his right shin. Sasuke wrapped a snake around for protection, but he might as well have put a sheet of paper to block her attack. Her fist melted the snake, his skin, and the bone, exploding his lower right leg with a snake as they turned into a thin cloud of red droplets. Sasuke rose through the air. He strangely felt no pain when he saw Tsunade destroying his leg, but a wave of adrenaline ruptured within. Tsunade's follow-through hit one of the arena chairs carved from the rock. A massive shockwave erupted from her fist, which exploded the arena stands and destroyed almost half of the stadium. Sasuke went up. His stump left behind a thin string of blood, and he adjusted himself to land on the cave ceiling of the arena with just one leg.
Lady Tsunade got him! Let's finish the job!
Anko yelled, looking at Sasuke far above her, trailing blood. Akatsuchi, who was next to her, weaved a hand sign, nodding, and touched his hand on the ground.
Earth style! Great golden gauntlet!
Before Sasuke landed on the ceiling, a human-sized fist made out of rock leaped out of it and punched Sasuke, sending him down at an angle towards a section of the stands that Tsunade's punch didn't destroy. Sasuke hit the stone seats, destroying several of them in the process, as Kurotsuchi flew 20 meters above him, on top of a golden insect cloud.
Magma style! Great magma orb!
Kurotsuchi spat a large sphere of glowing rock at him. Sasuke summoned a large snake that wrapped itself around him. The lava hit it, completely covering the snake. Kurotsuchi weaved more hand seals. She spat a jet of cool water that hit the magma, producing a large cloud of steam and hardening the molten rock. It solidified into the conical shape of Sasuke's coiled snake.
Nice job!
Anko yelled.
Wow, it looks like a big mountain of poop from down here.
Akatsuchi said, laughing.
Easy peasy. I wonder what you'll say about it, Naruto.
Kurotsuchi told herself, observing her restraining jutsu from above, still flying on Shino's bugs. Tsunade landed close to the hardened lava.
It's over, Sasuke Uchiha.
If you fight for more than 2 minutes with a severed leg like that, you'll die from blood loss. We'll open this cocoon and capture you. Do not resist, and I will stop the bleeding.
You underestimate me, Tsunade.
Sasuke said with a muffled voice coming from inside the cocoon. You're strong, but you can't fight with an exploded leg like that. Give yourself in, lad. And perhaps I'll even give you a good prosthetic once we're back in the Leaf Village. Kiba had no idea for how long that guy had been slapping him. Both his cheeks burned as that bastard cackled in laughter. However, he didn't see the taller guy standing up with an unsettling expression, and half of his face turned to a different color.
Hey, stop slapping me. There's something wrong with the guy behind you, you idiot. Ugh.
He didn't listen, and the tall guy beheaded the one who was hitting Kiba with an X-like protrusion coming from his left arm. He looked at Kiba, who couldn't move from his restraints. He manifested his nail claws, but the angle was too awkward to cut the ropes tying his wrists.
I'll kill you so bad. But first, I'll disembowel your dog in front of your eyes.
He moved towards Akamaru's unconscious body. Tsunade waited for Sasuke to answer, but he remained quiet. There was a chance he already passed out from the blood loss. Better to get him out of there before he died. Still, they had to be careful. He could be planning something funny. Kurotsuchi, can you start A bright blade of blue lightning emerged from the cocoon, piercing the solid rock and hitting Tsunade in the middle of her chest, running through her heart and emerging behind her. The blade extended a few meters after exiting her back, and she felt a sharp pain on her chest as lightning enwrapped her. It paralyzed her muscles, and her heart being pierced so thoroughly stopped her circulation, making it difficult to think.
Lady Hokage!
Kurotsuchi screamed from above, flying on top of the golden thief bugs. Shino's stole biters immediately emerged from one of his gourds and flew towards Tsunade. Lightning carved a person-sized hole in the cocoon, and Sasuke Uchiha emerged from it, holding his spear of lightning with his left hand, still piercing Tsunade's torso. He walked out with a casual gait, and the patterns of his stage 1 curse mark covered half his face. Tsunade looked down in disbelief, realizing he had both legs. The leg she had destroyed was completely healed, free from any scrapes, though his trousers were ripped in that section of the leg, and he didn't have his right sandal. As the toe biters were about to reach Sasuke, he weaved a one-handed seal with his right hand that was not holding the blade, and ignited lightning around him, hitting Tsunade and destroying several of the incoming bugs. Shino had to pull them back. They could eat chakra and water, but not raw ninjutsu. Tsunade lifted a trembling hand. It was a great effort just to move it, but she signaled the others not to interfere. I told you not to underestimate me, Tsunade.
How is it possible?
She muttered, looking at Sasuke's unharmed right leg.
The only people I knew who could shrug off a wound like that were my grandfather with his regeneration and Orochimaru with his substitution.
Could Sasuke have even mastered Orochimaru's substitution jutsu? He mentioned he absorbed his powers, but what did he exactly mean by that?
You can't kill me with an attack like that, Uchiha.
Tsunade said, overcoming the lightning paralysis and weaving the tiger hand seal. I know, that's why I hit you with it.
Reverse seal open! Art of mitotic regeneration.
Tsunade's forehand seal opened itself and spread around her body. The open wound where Sasuke's blade pierced her began to steam. It's just like Orochimaru said. You can recover from practically any wounds using that jutsu. But it has a steep cost, doesn't it? A great amount of chakra reserved in your forehead. And the more you have to heal, the faster it expires.
Knowing my jutsu will make a difference. Orochimaru was weaker than me,
she said, dashing towards Sasuke, still impaled by the long blade of lightning. I wouldn't be so sure. Sasuke twisted his hand that held the blade, and 10 additional spears of lightning emerged from Tsunade's torso before she could reach him. They were ramifications of the initial blade. Tsunade gushed out blood to all sides. She felt unimaginable pain and knew that all her vital organs except for her brain were pierced from within. The golden thief bugs dashed down in amazing speed, letting Kurotsuchi drop. Sasuke activated another Chidori stream, but this time these bugs soldiered through the current and didn't die. They barely even slowed down. Sasuke dashed backwards, jumping down to the arena grounds. His Chidori spear fizzled and the spikes vanished from Tsunade's body, but he kept a regular Chidori activated. He slashed with his Chidori at the incoming golden bugs, destroying a swath, so they weren't invincible.
Earth style! Earth sandwich!
Akatsuchi said, touching the ground. 2 large blocks of stone rose from either side of Sasuke, smashing together. As the golden bugs flew back, Sasuke weaved one-handed seals with both his hands simultaneously. His curse mark stage 1 began to take over his entire face. He extended his arms to each side, and a lightning dragon erupted from each of his hands, destroying the crashing blocks of stone. The dragons arced and began to fly towards Tsunade. Kurotsuchi finished weaving hand seals and landed close to the Hokage on the arena stands.
Magma style! Scorching tsunami!
Kurotsuchi smashed her hands on one of the rock chairs, and the rock
rock turned into lava. A massive wave crashed down upon the arena grounds, which dwarfed and consumed the lightning dragons. The wave crashed, and Sasuke had to jump up, landing on the other side of the arena stands. Kurotsuchi dispelled her jutsu, solidifying the rock on the ground below, in the shape of a wave. Tsunade stood up. Kurotsuchi came to check up on her, and she was shocked to see all of her wounds almost closed, though there were several bloody holes all around her clothing. I will keep my mitotic regeneration activated. That way, I won't have to worry about his lightning style. Orochimaru's substitution jutsu consumes a lot of chakra. If we can keep the pressure on him, we'll tire him out, Tsunade thought. Sasuke looked at the destroyed arena from the stands above. His plan to get himself restrained by the magma style so that he could pierce Tsunade from within, forcing her to activate regeneration, worked partially. He didn't intend to get a leg blown off. Using the skin change made him worry about his chakra reserves. But the Chidori Spear ramification managed to force her into spending a lot of chakra. However, the healing seal still spread around her skin. Sasuke would have to tire her out more, and he would have to be forceful to do it. His curse mark pattern covered his entire body, turning his skin into a gray-orange hue. He lowered his shirt, and wings shaped like hands emerged from his back. It was time to end this. Kiba rolled on the ground, unable to cut his restraints, and put his body between Akamaru and that laughing psycho. He had to do something to protect his dog. You wanna die together, I suppose? That's fine by me. So long as I can see your guts, I don't care. Suigetsu's head reformed itself with water. Juugo was having a fit, and Sasuke wasn't around to stop him. He was about to kill the dogman and his dog, and Suigetsu was helpless. He probably wouldn't die because of his jutsu, but the dogman, poor guy, he was shielding his dog, trying to protect him from Juugo, even though he had no chance whatsoever, even though he was still bound. It was sad. Then again, it wasn't Suigetsu's responsibility or anything. If Sasuke wasn't here to contain Juugo, it wasn't as though he could do much about it. But then, looking at the dogman's face, Suigetsu remembered the day he became a ninja, and the tears of someone he loved. I'm not gonna let you touch my dog! Yeah? Let's see then! Juugo lashed his arm at Kiba, laughing. Water tendrils wrapped themselves around his head before he could slash at Kiba. Juugo turned around, slicing the tendrils with his X-arm, and Suigetsu slashed at him with Sasuke's sword. Juugo blocked with no difficulty, using his arm axe. Suigetsu didn't even draw blood. Damn it! There isn't enough meat in this sword! Sasuke should have let me keep mine! Why am I even doing this? Why am I helping this guy? Suigetsu thought, wincing, as Juugo landed a strike on his torso, dropping him down. His chest popped into water and Juugo began to punch him relentlessly. Die! 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 He screamed with every punch, exploding Suigetsu into more water. Suigetsu looked at Dogman. Hands up, Dogman! He exhaled, pointing his index finger at Dogman while Juugo pummeled him. Kiba lifted his restrained hands, and Suigetsu shot a drop of water from the tip of his finger, severing the ropes tying Kiba's wrist. With free hands, he used his claws to cut the ropes restraining his legs and the ones restraining Akamaru. He then broke Akamaru out of Sasuke's genjutsu. You'll have to punch me harder to kill me, Juugo! Suigetsu said, provoking Juugo so that he wouldn't see what Dogman was doing. Kiba signaled for Akamaru to be quiet, and they bolted towards the cave exit. Suigetsu lowered his water barrier, letting the two escape into the rain. Good. At least Dogman was not gonna get disemboweled, but Sasuke would be livid at Suigetsu for letting his prisoners escape. And Suigetsu didn't know how to calm Juugo down. He had a feeling he would just keep on punching him until Sasuke arrived. And if Sasuke ever needed reinforcements, he could forget about it. The golden thief bug surrounded Shino. He flared his chakra, transferring it to his insects, which gave off golden light when they received it. He looked at Sasuke, who just manifested the wings of the second stage of his curse mark. Tsunade landed close to him with Kurotsuchi. Careful, that's the second stage, Shino said. I know, I heard the reports, Tsunade responded. How long can you keep that going, Lady Tsunade, regenerating like that? It depends on how much he hits me, but I'll be able to hang in there for at least a little while longer. Very well then, engage him in taijutsu. I'll create a more subtle opening this time. Kurotsuchi, how are you on chakra reserves? Low. I used too many large-scale jutsus. So were mine. I essentially gave the rest of my chakra to the golden thief bugs just now. Should we engage with Lady Tsunade then? How old are you, Captain Anko? What kind of question is that? It's important. I'm not privy to this type of information as a chunin. I'm 28. Shino caressed the back of Tsunade's head, which weirded Kurotsuchi out. You'll stay back then. Lady Tsunade and my golden thief bugs will be the only ones engaging close quarters. We will... Sasuke was already at them. Shino couldn't
couldn't perceive his movements on the second stage of the curse mark. The entire arena ground erupted into lightning, blasting all of them away except for Tsunade, who withstood the blow. But Sasuke slashed the Chidori at her, creating a wide gash on her chest and squirting blood. The deep cut began to immediately regenerate. The lightning stream caused too much pain, which paralyzed Shino for a moment. He fell down, but sent more of his regular insects to break everyone free of an eventual genjutsu. Tsunade punched back at Sasuke, but he vanished, appearing from behind Akatsuchi and spitting a fire dragon at him, which exploded on an earth wall he created just in time to block it. Anko launched snakes at him. Sasuke put one of his wings in front of his body, letting the snakes bite it. This venom will never do anything to me. I'm just holding you there, you idiot. Tsunade came from above, aiming a kick at Sasuke, but he vanished once more. Not before slashing through Anko's snakes with imperceptible movements. He appeared right behind Anko, touching her neck with his left hand, more specifically, Anko's curse mark. She froze. You never mastered it, did you? Orochimaru told me how it almost killed you. Let's see how well you'll fare this time. The golden thief bugs flew towards Sasuke, but he was faster. Curse mark patterns shining bright orange appeared in his arm, and they leaped to Anko, passing to her curse mark, which began to flare, creating patterns on her body. Anko's curse mark patterns were thin and angular in nature. She began to scream in pain, falling to the ground, clutching her neck. The golden bugs reached Sasuke. He flew up using his wings, and the bugs gave chase, but Sasuke was faster. Magma style! Molten boulder stream! Kurotsuchi spat several magma orbs towards the flying Uchiha, who evaded them midair with so much elegance. He weaved a one-handed seal and began to rain fireballs upon them. A raging inferno, some fireballs clashing against the magma orbs. Others were blocked by Akatsuchi's mud walls. Shino knew they were in trouble, so he directed his golden thief bugs to Lady Tsunade so that she could fly and reach Sasuke. Captain Anko screamed as the curse mark flared and consumed her entire body. Stick to the plan! It's the only way we can beat him! Shino said as Tsunade hopped on his golden bugs, flying to Sasuke. Sasuke shot more fireballs at them, but the bugs formed themselves around Tsunade into a golden orb, protecting her from the fire, and kept flying towards Sasuke, who flew down and slashed at them, carving a hole into the orb and cutting through Tsunade with a Chidori. She crashed on the stands and Sasuke slashed her one more time, but the Hokage steeled herself and threw a punch, which Sasuke casually dodged, and appeared behind her, slashing her again with a Chidori. More blood gushed. Tsunade aimed a kick behind her, but Sasuke was no longer there, appearing on her other side, and slashing again. You did me a favor using this jutsu. I don't have to hold back anymore. Well, not too much, at least. Just tell me when you're running out of chakra so I don't kill you accidentally. Tsunade ignored the immense pain she felt every time Sasuke slashed her. He wasn't using piercing attacks, which were more dangerous, but slashing attacks debilitated her speed and strength, and she couldn't land a hit. His speed was at another level with his stage of the curse mark. He kept slashing. The cuts repaired themselves, but could she hold out her mitotic regeneration longer than he could hold out his curse mark? The golden bugs began to fly around them, and Sasuke winced in pain out of nowhere. His movements slowed down significantly, and Tsunade re-engaged in taijutsu, now being able to compete against the second stage of the curse mark. Another Sasuke emerged from the ground behind Shino and landed a kick to his side, sending him flying. Shino felt his ribs breaking, and it became difficult to breathe. He must have sent a clone on the ground while he was inside that cocoon, but at least the clone didn't have the curse mark activated. Kurotsuchi jumped at him, spitting lava, but Sasuke's clone dodged it. Anko looked at Sasuke, but she was paralyzed, screaming and unable to fight. Shino sent his remaining toe biters and flying lies towards the clone, but with a powerful fire-style dragon, Sasuke singed them midair and destroying the insects. Shino now barely had any of his regular insects in him as well. The fire dragon danced on the arena grounds and dashed towards Akatsuchi, who encased himself in a stone barrier, withstanding the explosion caused by the dragon when it hit him. Sasuke's clone launched snakes from his sleeve at Kurotsuchi, who was running out of steam. Out of options, Shino dashed towards Sasuke. The snakes bit Kurotsuchi on the neck and torso, but Kurotsuchi used her stone skin on those areas so their fangs wouldn't pierce her. However, the bite force was tremendous, and it pinned Kurotsuchi down. She weaved hand signs, but Sasuke's one-handed seals were faster, and he shot Chidori needles at his pinned target. Kurotsuchi couldn't move out of the way. She used her stone skin all over her body. However, the lightning-style needles overcame it. They pierced her body in a dozen different places, including both arms and legs. She felt a wave of paralyzing pain, and her body became limp from the lightning discharge. However, she noticed none of the needles hit vital spots.
A limping Shino reached Sasuke's clone and engaged him in taijutsu. The snakes let Kurotsuchi go, and she fell to the ground, quivering in pain, with bright blue needles sticking from her body. Shino threw punches and kicks, and started to trade blows with the clone. This wasn't his speciality, much less with his ribcage in tatters, but he had gotten better at taijutsu over the last few years. You must be truly desperate to fight me in close quarters, Shino. I just have to hold out until Lady Tsunade beats her original. A stone spike erupted from the ground, impaling the clone. Akatsuchi got him after opening a small window on his stone barrier, but instead of puffing away, the clone turned into a fireball. The blast engulfed Shino and threw him away into the distance. But his overcoat protected him from the fire. It was made from a special heat-resistant silk from unique silk bugs the Aburame clan cultivated. Sasuke and Tsunade fought in the stands above. The golden thief bugs surrounded them. A loud, high-pitched sound came from the direction of the fight. Akatsuchi removed the lightning needles from Kurotsuchi using a stone golem to touch them, and grouped Itan, Anko, and Kurotsuchi close together, the fallen combatants. Anko retched from the pain of the curse mark, and Kurotsuchi couldn't move well because of the puncture wounds. Itan was unconscious. Do you have any chakra? Akatsuchi asked Shino. No. I still have some, but I don't think I can take on that guy if the Hokage loses. Not on my own, at least. Stay here. You get on Lady Tsunade's way. Captain Anko, can we do anything to help you? No, I need Lady Tsunade to pump me with chakra so that I can overpower the curse mark. I can't withstand it much longer. She will win. She's a Kage, Kurotsuchi said. Sasuke was impossibly dizzy. He was seeing 3 Tsunades in front of him. The golden insects were blasting him with the loudest sound he had ever heard. A high-pitched, terrible sound he felt was about to melt his brain. Sasuke tried to dispel genjutsu, thinking this was an auditory variety, but that was no illusion. Rather, physical sound waves assaulting his ears. The pain and dizziness were so great that Tsunade matched him in a taijutsu fight. Even with the second stage activated, fully blasting chakra, he had landed no hits after the noise began, and Sasuke was running out of time. The second stage had been activated for too long already. Sasuke could feel the chakra burning his veins, muscles, and overtaking his psyche, urging him to kill. He tried to run away from the insect's range, but Tsunade didn't let him. She was locked in, and yet she was also close to the bugs, as close as Sasuke was, and she seemed to be completely unaffected. Were her ears made out of steel too? Sasuke managed to look at them, and they weren't clogged by anything blocking the sound waves. Her regeneration wouldn't help her overcome this sort of effect, and these insects could withstand fire and lightning. Sasuke would have to hit them all with a Chidori, but it would be impossible to get all of them while fighting the Hokage. They were even able to dodge the Chidori needles, so he had to strike with a regular Chidori, his fastest strike. There was no option. He had to beat the Hokage first. Sasuke tried to wrap a snake around his head to cover his ears, but the sound would also affect the snake, and regardless, Tsunade grabbed it and exploded with her bare hands. She then landed a glancing blow to Sasuke's side, drawing blood. Oh yeah, she'll do it! Akatsuchi sat on the ground below, watching the fight happening about 40 meters away. I told you she would. She's a Kage. But I don't understand. Sasuke seems even slower than before his curse mark thing was on. And what's that awful noise that's coming from there? Kurotsuchi said. The noise is the reason for his lethargy. It's slowing Sasuke down. It may just sound annoying for us, far away from the source, but Sasuke is in the middle of the vortex. My golden thief bugs are directing the noise straight at him. I tested the conditions he is in right now myself. It's unbearable. I couldn't even stand up. I'm astonished he's able to fight Lady Tsunade. But why is Lady Hokage not suffering from the same effects? She's really close to the bugs, just like Sasuke is. The golden thief bugs beat their wings faster than the human eye can see, and they can create powerful sounds with them. They can also direct those sounds with pinpoint accuracy, straight at Sasuke's ears. Thousands of blasting waves from all those insects aimed at him at the same time with a high-pitched, infernal sound. And you're right, even though the bugs have pinpoint accuracy, if any of us were in Lady Tsunade's place, we would be suffering terrible sound wave effects. Not as much as Sasuke, but enough to make us unable to fight. However, the golden thief bugs can also control the frequency of the sound. And how does that help? Like any body part, the human ear deteriorates with age. The older you become, the more difficult it gets to hear high-frequency sounds. The sweet spot for the golden thief bug's sound blast is at a frequency of 15,598 hertz. A regular person
mind can hear that frequency until their mid to late 30s. Lady Tsunade is 53. She cannot hear the bugs at all, while Sasuke at 16 can hear them perfectly.
That's amazing. It's an unbeatable jutsu if your target's young enough.
There are drawbacks. It consumes a ludicrous amount of chakra, and I can't use my golden thief bugs for a week after that. They have to rest, or they'll just die from exhaustion. But yes, it's a perfect jutsu for this situation.
Sasuke couldn't fly because of his dizziness. They exchanged more attacks, both managing to dodge each other, but Sasuke goaded Tsunade into trying to finish the fight. When she got very close, Sasuke used his right wing to reach around himself and slammed Tsunade from behind. However, the Hokage caught the large wing with her palm. Sasuke tried to pull it away, but the Hokage had an iron grasp. She held the wing with such force that her fingers dug into his skin, drawing blood, and then she swung. Sasuke was yanked from the ground, and using his wing as a rope, Tsunade flung him over her head and slammed him on the other side. Sasuke felt bones cracking. She didn't let him go and slammed him again. He was too dizzy to counterattack. The sound attack combined with the rapid swings, the world was spinning faster than his Sharingan could handle. She slammed him again and again. There was only one thing he could do. Sasuke ignited a Chidori and slashed the base of his right wing, slicing it free. Tsunade tossed the wing away and followed through with a kick, and Sasuke used his other wing as a shield. Tsunade hit it, crumpling the wing and striking Sasuke behind it. He flew down and hit the wall of the arena grounds below, spitting blood. Tsunade landed on the arena grounds, but Sasuke stood up, the power of the curse mark coursing through his veins, urging him to slaughter them all. He ignited a Chidori. Pain. Unfathomable, omnipotent, universal pain hit Sasuke with the force of an exploding sun. Sasuke's Chidori fizzled out, and he fell to his knees, screaming so loud his throat could rip apart. It came from his back. That pain, there was nothing that could compare to it. Sasuke slammed himself to the ground, trying to make it go away. He hit his back, but it wouldn't leave him.
It's over. I got him with the Black Death. He just smashed the end, but one sting is more than enough to incapacitate. Shino told Kurotsuchi.
What? When did you do it?
But then she realized on her own. When you touch the back of Lady Hokage, you put the end in her hair to disguise it. So when she touched Sasuke's wing, the end moved to him.
Precisely. Sasuke couldn't stop screaming. He tried to, but it was involuntary. He could never fathom so much pain would be even possible. He writhed, but it wouldn't stop. It just wouldn't. Nothing else crossed his mind but the pain. Sasuke would never feel fine again. He would never feel happy again. Why was he there? What was the point in all this? Should he just die? Maybe that way the pain would go away. Maybe death was preferable. Death seems like a gift now. But that thought triggered a memory. His parents, dead, facing the ground, blood spreading around them. Death is not preferable. It's total humiliation. Tsunade began to walk towards the screaming Sasuke. His curse mark was still activated, and his veins were bulging out because of it. That was not the effect of the end, but the curse mark itself. It consumed him. Perhaps the pain was so overpowering that it wouldn't let him retract the curse mark. Shino's golden thief bugs returned to his gourd after exhausting all the chakra he gave them. Itachi overlooked Sasuke with his hateful eyes. His Sharingan pattern changed. Foolish little brother, if you wish to kill me, curse me, hate me, and survive your miserable life. No, he couldn't die here. He must kill. Purple chakra exploded from Sasuke, hitting Tsunade and sending her back to where the others stood in the arena grounds. Sasuke stood up, and an aura of cursed chakra surrounded him, swirling with power. It made the air heavy. It cracked the ground. What? That's impossible, Shino said as wind from Sasuke's chakra burst hit his face. He has Orochimaru's powers. He may be immune to the ant's venom. His immunity to poison wouldn't apply to the Black Death. It's a completely different active principle. He is doing this with willpower alone. Not only that, but it seems like he's getting more powerful through the pain. I've heard stories about the Uchiha clan. The hatred fuels them. I thought they were just legends my great uncle propagated. Tsunade, you let him die. I still gave you a chance to save him, but you let him die. You let him die because you had to come here to party and drink. Your pathetic excuse for a Kage, Sasuke said in an unhinged and disturbing tone. What are you talking about? I pierced him with my Chidori, and he cannot heal himself like you can. I even missed his heart on purpose, but you... You killed him to get drunk instead! Pathetic woman! Sasuke salivated blood. He turned the pain into hatred, and now the curse mark was overtaking his psyche. Killing all of them would be delightful, but he had to make Tsunade suffer first. What is that all about? I don't understand! The great toad fraud. You sent him after me, didn't you? Didn't you? I beat him so bad, just like I'll beat you right here. The legendary Sanin are nothing compared to the ultimate power of the Uchiha! The ground surrounding Sasuke shattered and exploded with chakra, sending debris to all directions. Glowing orange patterns left Sasuke's curse mark and cruised his skin towards his wings. The severed one began to regrow, and the crumpled one began to reform. Lies! Why would you even tell me this now? Tsunade did send Jiraiya to track Sasuke down and eventually bring him back to the village if they found him, but she hadn't heard anything back from Jiraiya. Surely because they just didn't find Sasuke. Because I want to see your face of desperation before I kill you. I can prove it to you. You must know all of his summons. You were friends after all. He loved you. He summoned a large green toad and also a small purple one to track me. Orochimaru just told you about that. Could Orochimaru have taught me this? Sasuke weaved hand signs. Hair needles. His curse mark hair moved on its own accord and shot needles, missing them. Sasuke was too deranged to aim properly. I'm not good at this jutsu, but I managed to copy it with my Sharingan. I tried to give you a chance, Tsunade, but you killed him. Why would you come here? Running away from your responsibilities, I suppose? Do you wish to forget your dead brother and lover? Drink yourself away. You leave the Leaf Village exposed just because you're weak. Something snapped in Tsunade's mind. Why had she come here personally? It all made complete sense up until a moment ago. She was doing all that because she felt like it was the best choice, but now she knew this was a terrible idea. It couldn't be a genjutsu. She would know she had been under somebody's control. No, it was as though her brain just twisted back and righted itself, changing her entire thought process, as if she had been someone else when she decided to come here, and she was so certain about that decision. Sasuke's words, through his megalomaniacal rant, he was right. Leaving the village in the current situation, missing the aftermath of the Land of Whirlpools mission made no sense, and now Jiraiya was dead because of her moronic decision. This is bad. The pain combined with a curse mark made him psychotic, Shino said. We have to get out of here. Akatsuchi, take us to the surface, Kurotsuchi said. No, if we go to the surface now, Sasuke could kill several civilians in that state. Kill me! I can't take it anymore! Anko screamed in agony. What do we do? Kurotsuchi asked in desperation. I don't know. Lady Tsunade, what are your orders? She didn't respond. She seemed frozen. Lady Tsunade? She was catatonic. Tsunade couldn't process why she decided to come here. Why she was even here in the first place. Yes, that's the face I wanted to see, Tsunade. True desperation. Now I shall grant you the sweet kiss of death. Sasuke weaved hand signs slowly and methodically, as though he was enjoying the process. A black and white Chidori exploded from his hand. Sasuke was gonna kill them all. It would all be so sweet, so tasteful and delicious to drink in their blood, so wonderful to see their insides. Tsunade would be the first one. The others would be in complete shock after he severed her head. He couldn't wait to see their faces once he did. did so, and Tsunade herself would even be able to witness those beautiful faces. You retain consciousness for a few seconds after a decapitation. But no, Sasuke had to kill the others so fast that Tsunade would see them dying as her head fell to the ground. Yes! Sasuke looked at Tsunade's desperate eyes and dashed at her, exploding the ground beneath him with his speed. He would do it while staring deep into her soul. But for a moment, he didn't see the Hokage's face, but Sakura's. They were similar. Sakura. She hugged him in the forest of death when the pain of the curse mark became unbearable. It was such a warm, comforting hug. Why didn't she hug him longer? Why didn't he hug Sakura back? Why did he never hug Sakura back? She had hugged him so many times in the land of waves right after Sasuke was almost dead. It was a painful hug because of the needles in his body, but Sasuke felt that pain and enjoyed it. Why did he leave the Leaf Village in the first place? Just to suffer? Where was he even right now? This was such a strange place. And why was he killing Sakura right now? He was going to sever her head with a clean slice of an onyx Chidori. Sasuke remembered why he left the village, why he left Sakura and Naruto, because he must kill Itachi, not Sakura. He couldn't kill Sakura now. That would be wrong. Terrible even. That wasn't even Sakura, was it? That was a hallucination, wasn't it? The pain, the curse mark, it drove him mad, but he still had control over his actions. Sasuke's onyx Chidori stopped a few centimeters from Tsunade's neck. His hand trembled, and Sasuke's gaze was of pure agony. Veins popped in his arms, face, neck, leaking blood. The curse mark was destroying his body, but he couldn't retract it. The pain was too intense, too much. He screamed, and the dark lightning of the Chidori expanded, hitting the entire arena, blasting the leaf and stone ninjas but not killing them. They were all badly hurt. Sasuke flew up with his regrown curse mark wings towards the roof of the arena and used his onyx Chidori to pierce through it, flying towards the surface. He puked blood, which fell on the arena ground, and carved through that stone a long tunnel using his Chidori. Eventually, he emerged on the reigning Crystal City outskirts. He began to fly towards the mountain peak, trying to get help from Juugo or Suigetsu, but the veins popped out, leaking more blood out of him, and cursed flesh lumps began to form around his skin. Sasuke plummeted, hitting the city below. He was in a relatively empty area, especially with the rain, and he managed to hold his screams of pain, but Sasuke could no longer move. The last embers of his chakra were barely keeping the curse mark at bay. Tsunade breathed in heavily, staring at the hole Sasuke made on the roof. Rain fell from it. "Kill me, please! Lady Tsunade!" Anko said. The triangular patterns of her curse mark took her entire body. Sasuke forced his own curse mark into hers, triggering its activation. Tsunade kneeled close to her and pumped chakra into Anko, giving her more chakra so that she could push the evil cursed chakra away, and the patterns receded. She then went over to Kurotsuchi and Itan and administered more healing ninjutsu. "We have to evacuate the city." Somehow he managed to contain himself from killing us here, but he may not be able to do so in the city above, and I have to return to the Leaf Village immediately, Tsunade said, falling to her knees in exhaustion. Her skin crumpled and her mitotic regeneration patterns receded. Kurotsuchi clutched her before she fell to the ground and was shocked to see Tsunade's real appearance. "You have to rest, First Lady Hokage. Akatsuchi, can you take care of the evacuation signal? Go up there with your earth style?" Akatsuchi fell to his knees, tired. "I can't. He drained my chakra." "Sasuke? No. Shino. I didn't see his bugs coming. I was too distracted with Sasuke's burst of anger, and Shino took my chakra with his bugs. I saw him flying up through the hole with a small cloud of insects he had left." Indeed, Shino was not among them, and with no chakra, they would have to take the elevator up, which would take a long time. "Don't worry. If Shino did that, he has a plan," Tsunade said weakly. Sasuke's curse mark completely paralyzed him. It hadn't done that ever since his fight against Gaara, and the pain from Shino's end made it impossible for Sasuke to retract it. He still had drops of his own chakra that were able to fight against the maddening influence of the cursed chakra, attempting to overtake him completely. He figured if he couldn't retract the curse mark within 2 minutes, he would die. "I see you are in quite a predicament, my dear Sasuke. Stop suppressing me, and I can take the pain away." Sasuke heard Orochimaru's voice from within himself.
Karin sprinted through the rain. She was desperate. So many enemies had cornered Sasuke underground. She had been using Akamaru's form, but once she sensed Sasuke's chakra flaring underneath, along 6 other chakra signatures, she knew Sasuke was in trouble. So she dispelled the transformation jutsu and was trying to do something to help. Even the Hokage was there fighting Sasuke, and his plan to launch fire into the sky wouldn't work underground, meaning that Juugo and Suigetsu would never go and help him. So Karin had to warn them about the situation. She thought about going underground and help Sasuke herself, but she alone wouldn't be a match for the Hokage and the other ninjas he was fighting against. Karin decided to run towards the mountain peak as fast as she could. As the battle progressed underground, Karin felt Sasuke using his curse mark. The dark chakra was like a blot on Karin's inner sensorial perception, and then Karin froze. Suddenly Sasuke's body became inundated with an insurmountable amount of cursed chakra, much more than Karin ever thought possible. She felt cold and afraid. That amount of power made her feel small and insignificant, but what worried her the most was that the chakra was taking over Sasuke's own chakra. His signature was disappearing. The curse mark was going to kill him. Should she just give up on getting Suigetsu and Juugo and go help Sasuke herself somehow? She felt Sasuke moving fast, coming up. He was flying towards the surface. Perhaps she could get to him. Yes, Karin could feel Sasuke flying towards the mountain peak, but Sasuke fell down from the sky, and she felt Sasuke's chakra disappearing, the curse mark becoming stronger. She had to go and help Sasuke, give him extra chakra so that he could fight back against the curse mark, but there was no time. Karin wouldn't get to Sasuke before he died. Still, she had to try everything she could. Something slashed Karin's torso, opening a diagonal wide gash from her shoulder to her hip, and she fell down, feeling as though she was ripped in two. A pool of blood began to form around her. When she looked up, she saw the dog Shinobi. His right hand was drenched in her blood, and he didn't even look back to see what happened to her. He just ran to the city down below with his dog. How did he defeat Juugo and Suigetsu? Was he more powerful than Sasuke thought? Sasuke, he was in danger. This ninja was a smell sensory type. Even in the rain, he could probably track Sasuke down this close distance, and Karin noticed he was going straight to Sasuke's location in Crystal City, while Karin herself was bleeding on the ground, feeling immense pain. Kiba saw red. He could smell Sasuke in Crystal City. He was going to rip him into pieces for what that guy almost did to Akamaru and for humiliating Kiba. When he found that girl with a strong scent of Sasuke on her, he didn't even ask questions. Kiba just killed her on his way down the mountain. The girl didn't even notice Kiba coming. She seemed in shock. She had to be one of Sasuke's allies, and the more of them Kiba took down before he could get to Sasuke, the better. No one messed with Akamaru and got away with it. They would all pay for what they did, and eventually he would go back to the cave and kill those 2 bastards that were holding him with Akamaru. Kiba got their scents memorized, but first he had to cut off the head of the snake. He had to kill Sasuke Uchiha. Lumps of curse mark flesh formed around Sasuke's body. The pain from Shino's ant only intensified, and he felt as though he would explode from the cursed chakra flooding him.
Don't ignore me, my dear Sasuke. I can take the pain away, save you from the anguish, control this powerful chakra for you.
Orochimaru's voice said, coming from within. Sasuke imagined that Orochimaru's consciousness could still exist after he reversed the living corpse reincarnation ritual, absorbing the Sanin's powers, though he didn't think it would be able to tug on him, almost as though Orochimaru was still alive inside of Sasuke.
You wish to kill Itachi? You can't do that if the curse mark kills you.
Do you think I'm a fool? If I let you out, you'll take me over. Sasuke thought back at Orochimaru.
Sometimes I forget you're no longer that confused little bird I fought in the forest of death. Yes, if you give in, your consciousness will die, but your body will remain. My body, my boy, my Sasuke.
I detest you. I will never give in.
I don't think you'll have much of a choice. Not if you want to kill Itachi, that is. You were in accordance with me taking your body before. Nothing will change. We're just doing what we're always meant to. I swear, my dear, I will kill Sasuke for you.
I take it you're not so desperate because even if I die, you will survive in that snake form of yours, huh?
Ever the astute one. one. I trained you well, my boy.
More lumps grew on Sasuke's face, and he vomited blood. Orochimaru was right. At this rate, the only way to keep his vengeance alive was to give in. He was going to die in less than a minute. No matter how much he tried, he couldn't retract a curse mark.
Impressive, isn't it? The amount of chakra the curse mark can draw, especially when bestowed upon an Uchiha body. No I's power is truly magnificent. You have no idea of the things I will accomplish once we are finally one, my boy.
Don't listen to him. He will obviously try to manipulate you into giving up your body. Think, Sasuke. Think how to retract the curse mark in this situation. When I got bitten and I thought of Itachi, the curse mark got more powerful. I drew in more chakra than ever before without even meaning to. It responded to my emotions, and it's always been like this. The longer I leave it activated, the more chakra it channels into my chakra network, and the more cursed chakra I get, the more difficult it becomes to control my emotions. The urge to kill intensifies. It's a snowball effect. But now, despite the pain, I'm thinking clearly. Perhaps it's because my own chakra is almost completely gone, and my psyche is all but suppressed, leaving nothing behind but the cursed chakra to be affected. Or perhaps it's because
the strongest ninjas have the clearest mind when they are about to die. You know what's the right decision, my Sasuke. Don't let your body go to waste. Give in to me.
How did I contain myself before? How did I not kill Tsunade? I hallucinated. I saw Sakura, and I remember what she did in the Forest of Death before. Yes, that time in the forest. I also contained the curse mark with Sakura's help. The curse mark also retracted. The curse mark also reacted to those emotions. They weren't hatred. And if hatred draws chakra in, the opposite of hatred should throw it out. Sasuke hadn't said the word love ever since the massacre, for only hatred could strengthen him, give him the power to fulfill his revenge. But now he had to clear his mind, think only about the good things that happened to him, but there were none. Sasuke's life had been nothing but misery. That's why the curse mark would kill him, because he couldn't draw its counter from anywhere. No, that's not true. Of course good things happened to me, you coward, pathetic, weak, spineless little brat. Stop making yourself the victim. You're not the victim. You're the solution. This is just life. Bad things happen, and good things happen to everyone. My misfortunes don't control me. I control them. Sasuke thought about his mom preparing him to go to the academy for the first time, about his father training him the shuriken jutsu, and also when he mastered the fireball jutsu, about him ignoring Naruto while sitting at the edge of that lake after the massacre, but deep down wanting to talk to him, about Sakura hugging him in the land of waves after he almost died. He thought about himself telling Naruto that he wanted to fight Naruto in the Chunin exams preliminaries, and he also remembered countless faces whose names he didn't know in this very city. The city Sasuke helped saving years ago. He remembered the people here thanking him after evacuating the city. He remembered how happy they were when Sasuke helped him to rebuild their homes. He didn't think of it at the time, but spending that time with Naruto and Sakura while helping those people, and also just doing other missions with his former team, was a period of true happiness. Sasuke decided it. Once he killed Itachi, he would return to the Leaf Village, and he would seek those moments again. The pain he felt from Shino's ant was still immense. The rain hitting him was chilling, but somehow Sasuke felt warm. The curse mark began to retreat. Sasuke's wings retracted, the lumps of meat shrunk, and his appearance returned to normal, albeit he had veins popping all over his body and was bleeding severely.
No, that's impossible. Your hatred is too strong for you to control the curse mark with that level of pain.
You never understood me, did you? That's not surprising. Someone like you could never relate to humans. Sasuke silenced Orochimaru's presence within, but he still couldn't move. The curse mark caused too much damage, his muscles were weak, and he lost too much blood. The pain from the ant only got worse, but Sasuke would withstand it. He just had to wait for Karin to pick him up and heal him. She should be nearby.
Well, 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 if it ain't the Uchiha prodigies slushing in the mud, Kiba said. Sasuke didn't notice him getting close. He tried to stand up, but his body didn't even respond. I'll show you who's the dense one now, Kiba said, salivating as he grabbed Sasuke by the neck and hoisted him up. He raised his other arm, preparing to strike Sasuke. His claws were already drenched in blood. Would you rather I rip your throat or your heart out? Kiba asked with manic eyes. Answer my question! Sasuke chuckled. You're not gonna kill me. You don't have what it takes. Hard it is. Kiba slashed at Sasuke's chest, surprising him. He was really going for it. Sasuke underestimated him. His thought process was too slow because of the curse mark and the pain, and before Sasuke could mutter another word, Kiba's claws were already piercing his chest. Anko clutched Tsunade as they went up the atrium elevator with the stone ninjas. Going up was even slower than going down. At this point, Sasuke could have already slaughtered citizens, especially if he had allies helping him out. Hopefully Shino will be able to handle it after draining Akatsuchi's chakra. Lady Tsunade, what are your orders once we reach the surface? We have to find Sasuke and stop him. And after that, Kiba and Akamaru. Stone people, are any of you sensory types? Unfortunately, none of the three of us are. Damn it, that old geezer told me to learn that tracking jutsu, but I didn't listen to him, Kurotsuchi said. Our sensory type was captured. If Sasuke hides, it will be difficult to find him, but Shino will manage. I trust him. I also must return to the Leaf Village immediately after this issue is resolved. But you were in no condition to travel immediately, Lady Tsunade. You have to stay here and rest for a day at least. No, Anko, something is very wrong. I wasn't supposed to be here. We have to get back to the village. Lady Hokage, I don't mean to pry into the business of the Leaf Village, but if you die during your travel, then what's the point? My grandfather's a very stubborn Kage. He's made many mistakes, especially in the last war when he decided to prolong it, even though the Idle Flash was decimating our forces. So please, don't be stubborn like him. If someone set you up to leave the village like this, then whoever did so is gonna try to do their best to keep you away. And if you return in your current condition and they ambush you, you'll be an easy prey. It was strange. That Kurotsuchi girl seemed so earnest, completely unlike her grandfather. It seemed like she really wanted to make sure Tsunade would be safe. Just agreeing with Shino's plan to capture Sasuke in a joint effort with the Leaf Village was already surprising. So far as Tsunade knew, it was only the second time the Leaf and the Stone joined forces for anything in the history of their villages. Both times when that happened, it was in this city, and both times this girl, Kurotsuchi, led the Stone team into the alliance. Why do you help an enemy village, Kurotsuchi? The girl looked at Hokage appalled. The Leaf is not my enemy. I don't care about what happened in the past between our villages. You're good people, and we're also good people. Being enemies makes no sense whatsoever. That old geezer will never forgive you guys for the last war, but deep down it's because he's ashamed of his own decisions, and he has to blame someone for his failure, so he blames you. But I don't want to be like that. I want to start healing. Those dark feelings don't ever bring anything positive to the world. My grandfather is stupid. Kurotsuchi, you shouldn't badmouth Lord Tsuchikage, Akatsuchi said. I'll do whatever I want. At the end of the day, the war was fought over influence, just like I fought against the Leaf Ninjas right here years ago because of sad influence. And because we just couldn't sit and talk about our issues, thousands of ninjas died. I don't want this stupid cycle to continue. When I become Tsuchikage, I'll make sure there'll be no more waste of life. Tsunade smiled with her wrinkled face. You remind me of Naruto. Kurotsuchi's face turned red and she averted her gaze. I say the treaty was fine as it was already set. The Leaf had no intention of changing it during the diplomatic meeting. Shall we just agree it's settled? The Stone also had no intention of changing it either. It's settled. One more thing. I know you probably won't accept, and I won't force you to, but could you keep what happened here with Sasuke a secret? If it gets out that he is very dangerous, other villages may want to interfere, try to capture and kill him. The Leaf wishes to deal with Sasuke in our way. Are you kidding? If that old geezer finds out we almost died helping the Leaf Village, he would kill me. Besides, I don't want others butting in. I want to respect Naruto's wishes. He wants Sasuke back, so I also want him back to the Leaf. Tsunade smiled. You'll make a great Tsuchikage one day. Kurotsuchi smiled back. I'm alive! I'm alive! Itan screamed as he woke up. Yes, we're all alive, Kurotsuchi said. Where's the Uchiha? We don't know. I don't think I can fight anymore today. We're all out of chakra anyway. So, what do we do? Tsunade smirked. We believe in Shino.
10 years ago. Shino Aburame had started the Ninja Academy a few months ago, and he hadn't exchanged a single word with another student. He didn't know how to interact with other people. The only subject he was comfortable talking about was insects, and people hated that. He wondered what having a friend would be like. Just one would be enough. It couldn't be that hard to make a friend, right, Dad? How do I make friends? Shino asked his father before going to the academy. Introduce yourself. Tell them you want to be friends with them. But what if I'm too weird? Shino, it's difficult for us, you know. I'm not gonna lie about that. The Aburame clan is respected, but people prefer to keep their distance from us. Most people find bugs disgusting. I just don't get why. They're harmless. Yes, but most people find them disgusting to look at. Don't be discouraged though. If introducing yourself doesn't work, do something nice. People appreciate those who are helpful and do nice things. Eventually, you'll get a friend. That day, Shino conjured up resolve. He would approach academy students and try to make a friend. Just boys though. Girls were far too terrifying for him. Shino had memorized the names of all students. The first one he approached was Choji Akimichi during a lunch break. Hello, I'm Shino Aburame. Nice to meet you. The plump boy was devouring chips. Would you like to be my friend?
What's your favorite food?
Wild grass salad.
Salad? Gross. I'll never be your friend.
Do something nice. People like those who are helpful. His father's words echoed in his head. Would you like to share your food? Eat together? Some company to converse with?
No! Don't get my chips, and the smell of salad makes me sick. Get out of here.
Shino left. The first attempt was a clear failure, but he could surely succeed at least once. Later he approached Kiba Inuzuka. Hello, I am Shino Aburame. Would you like to be a friend of mine?
No offense, dude, but the girls find you creepy. If they see me with you, they'll find him creepy too, so no, sorry.
Shino didn't know anything about girls, so he didn't even know how to do something nice for him in that regard. Another failure. He approached Shikamaru Nara next. He was sleeping on a bench in the courtyard of the academy. Shino woke him up. Hello, I'm Shino Aburame. Would you like to be friends with me? Why did you wake me up? Such a hassle. And went back to sleep. I guess doing something nice in this situation would just be to let him sleep. Another failure. Shino found Naruto Uzumaki after that. The troublemaker. He knew people hated him for being the vessel of that great devil, the Nine-Tails, but Shino always found that hatred misplaced. He also had creatures living in his body, albeit definitely not as powerful. People also blamed him for the death of the 4th Hokage, but Shino's dad always told him that Naruto should be hailed as a hero. He was always alone, just like Shino. But unlike Shino, who tried to remain invisible so people wouldn't be inconvenienced by his presence, Naruto always tried to be the center of attention with his wild pranks. On that day, Naruto was fixing a bucket filled with water on top of a half-open door in one of the academy hallways. He used stacked up chairs as a ladder. That was ingenious. Naruto seemed resourceful. It was a shame he didn't put that ingenuity to good use, but maybe he could be friends with Shino. They were both lonely after all. Once Naruto came down from the chair, Shino greeted him. Hello, I'm Shino Aburame. Would you like to be my friend? Naruto winced.
Get out of my way, you weirdo! They'll catch me!
The door opened, and the bucket of water fell on Iruka-sensei's head. It splashed all over him.
Naruto! See? It's all your fault! Get out of my way! He's gonna put me on detention until I graduate!
Iruka grabbed Naruto and dragged him into another classroom. On top of pulling these stupid pranks, now you're also trying to influence a model student like Shino. You're in a world of trouble, Naruto! Naruto gave Shino a final look of anger as Iruka closed the door. Shino didn't mean to interfere with Naruto's prank, but he was at fault. Should Shino have taken the blame for Naruto? No, Iruka-sensei wouldn't know that would be a lie. Another failure. Shino proceeded to approach every male student of his year. The same thing happened over and over. No one wanted to be his friend. He was too weird, or unpopular, or creepy, or all of them combined. He even tried some older students, but the results for those were even worse. They dismissed Shino without a second thought. The only boy his age Shino didn't try to talk to was Sasuke Uchiha. He was a top student of the class, a true prodigy. Shino came in second place in almost every test and trial they had, but he could never surpass Sasuke. Not even close. Shino wanted to approach him, but he was always surrounded by a swarm of girls that idolized him. There was no way he could talk to Sasuke like that. Even though it was the last chance Shino had to make a friend, that swarm of girls terrified Shino so much, so he didn't even try. But maybe he could catch Sasuke without those girls. So after school ended, he went after Sasuke. Perhaps he would get an opening, wait for the girls to disperse, but it was futile. The girls still followed Sasuke home in a pack after class. He was just too popular, a completely different
different reality. Someone like him would never be friends with Shino after all. He would just creep the girls out, like Kiba said. One of the girls in the crowd began to scream. She cried in desperation. It was Ino Yamanaka. The other girls around her began to scream and run in all directions as well. There's a bug in my hair! A bug! Please, someone help! Sasuke rolled his eyes in utter annoyance and used that opportunity to leave without being followed. Ino continued to cry and Shino paid attention to her hair. Indeed, there was some sort of roach in it. Shino had never seen the variety, which piqued his curiosity. Ino was desperate, and even though Shino was sure the roach was harmless, his dad was right. People really hated bugs. Do something nice. People like those who are helpful. His dad's words echoed in his mind once more. Shino could take the bug off her head, but she was a girl. She was terrifying. What if she found Shino creepy? Who cares? Doing something nice meant ending her suffering in that situation. So Shino overcame his fear and quickly approached Ino, raising his finger to her hair, commanding the roach to it. The bug obeyed. It's alright, I took the bug away, Shino said, commanding the roach to enter his sleeve. Ino saw that. She began to scream even louder. You disgusting! You get bugs for lunch? What are you doing? Ah! Get away from me! The other girls also began to shout at him, saying he was creepy and weird. No, it's okay. The bug is harmless, I promise. It's not on your head anymore. The girls ran away from him, as if they were a flock of hares fleeing from a wolf. Shino lowered his head and went back home alone.
Dad, being helpful didn't work. I took this bug from the hair of a scared girl and she thought it was disgusting. Shino told his dad as they ate dinner. You'll recall the roach he took from Ino's hair to his finger in one of his hands as he used chopsticks with the other one. It was a big roach. It also had wings so it could probably fly. Doing nice things doesn't always pay off immediately. You have to be patient, Shino. You're a good boy. People will see that eventually. I don't think they will. Do you know what type of bug this is? His dad pointed to the roach on Shino's finger. No, I've never seen it. Not surprising. This bug is not common in city areas. It's called a pest eater roach. You will find them mostly in the fields. Most people find these roaches absolutely appalling to look at, but they are actually the reason why we don't starve. They eat other smaller bugs that attack crops. Many years ago in the land of lightning, their feudal lord was so disgusted with them that he ordered a complete extermination. It caused a great famine and many people died. They are ugly to most people, but they are also supremely important, protecting us from pests. Shino didn't find the bug ugly at all. He found its long antennae and hairy legs fascinating. Still, even though it helps us, it's alone. Yes, actually that's the whole thing about this bug. At the end of its life cycle, pest eater roaches migrate away from the crop fields. By not dying and not leaving their carcasses on the crop fields, they don't attract any larger scavenger predators that could damage the crops. It's almost as though they know we need their help. When they sense they're about to die, they go away, as far away as they can. That's so sad. They die alone to help us. There's a saying, a roach is at its loneliest when it knocks on the gates of death. This one you're holding probably doesn't have much time left, as it's in the village, far away from crop fields. Can we do anything to save it? No, it has already completed its life cycle. It protected us from the pests, and now it'll rest. I see. You know, Shino, people say that Aburame ninjas also die alone. Some people even think it's a type of curse. Like mom? Yes. Shino's mom died when he was 3 years old. She was a powerful jonin and died alone in a solo scouting mission in the land of water. Her body was never found. I don't want to die alone. I bet the pest eaters don't want to die alone either, but it's what they must do. Your mom died protecting the village. She died alone, but she was also a great shinobi. If we must be alone in our final moments in order to be helpful, then so be it. It is the duty of our clan. The roach slipped from Shino's finger, falling to the table, its legs pointed upwards. It was dead. But I still don't want to die alone, and if I can help, I wouldn't want anyone else to die alone either. Of course not, Shino, but sometimes it's what we must do. Anyway, I bet someone will recognize you for the good boy you are eventually. The next day in the academy was worse than usual. The girls started pointing at Shino. They didn't even bother whispering, rather they just screamed out loud that Shino collected bugs, and that he was a disgusting weirdo. If they knew thousands of bugs literally lived inside of his body, they would drop dead from disgust. The girl that sat close to Shino in the classroom even moved 2 seats away without asking permission introduction to the sensei, she seemed absolutely terrified of him. Perhaps Shino could make a friend after graduation, because now it seemed impossible to do so in the academy. The only problem is that according to the new policies of the Leaf Village, the minimum graduation age was 12 years old, with a few exceptions for extreme prodigies. So that meant 5 years friendless. Well, he lived 7 that way already. It wasn't the end of the world, but maybe if he trained hard enough, he would be able to graduate a bit earlier. The day passed by, and the girls kept on pointing. Everywhere he looked, somebody was staring at him in utter disgust. After classes ended, Shino decided to stay and train. He went to the shuriken stand and began tossing the throwing stars, trying to perfect his technique with the instructions Iruka-sensei gave them. He threw about 200 of them. "You're better than the others," a voice said coming from behind him. Shino turned around and saw Sasuke Uchiha. That was the very first time another student had unpromptedly spoken to him. "But you're not better than me." Sasuke chuckled and began tossing shurikens as well. He nailed almost all of them, and they had more power than Shino's. "How did you get so good at it?" "My dad taught me a bit, though I wanted my big brother to do it. He never has time anymore, but he is really good. He can hit targets behind a wall by deflecting the kunais onto each other." "That's very impressive. Do you have any tips for me?" Show me your technique again." Shino tossed another shuriken. "You should flick your wrist right when you release the shuriken. I don't know how to explain it, but that's how I do it and it works." Shino tried it. To his surprise, the shuriken flew much faster, but with less precision. "Oh, nice. You kinda got it. Now you just have to work on hitting the target with that speed." Shino began to practice using Sasuke's tip. At first glance, it seemed like such a small detail, but the difference it made was almost unbelievable. Sasuke also continued to practice next to Shino. "By the way, don't let those girls get under your skin. They're stupid, afraid of a little bug, and then when you help them out, they just freak out. I don't get it." "It's alright. I'm used to it." "It's stupid, but they'll leave you alone now." "Why?" "Because I ordered them to." "Order them?" "Yeah, for whatever reason they would do anything I say, so I just told them not to bother you with their stupidity." "Why would you help me like that? What if they don't like you anymore?" "I don't really care. If they're stupid like that, then I'm glad they don't like me." "Thanks." "Yeah. Sure." They kept on practicing. The moon was full, but they had enough light to see even after sunset. "Oh, I'm late. Man, it's gonna kill me," Sasuke eventually said. "I should get going too. Do you wanna train tomorrow after class again?" "Yeah, you don't talk too much, so you're not annoying like the others. See you tomorrow." Shino went back home. That wasn't expected. He had already given up on finding a friend, but it seemed like he got lucky. Sasuke was a nice guy. "Dad, I made a friend today. We practiced throwing shurikens until late," he told his dad once he got home. Shino's dad smiled. "Really? That's great. Tell me all about it." Shino did so, and he couldn't help but to be excited to train again tomorrow with his new friend. Shino had never been happier arriving in class the next morning. But one thing was strange. Sasuke wasn't present. Maybe he got sick. The good news was that the girls left Shino alone. Sasuke's command really worked on them. The next day, Sasuke didn't go to class either. Several girls asked Iruka-sensei about him, and he told them that Sasuke was indisposed. But Shino could sense something was wrong. Iruka-sensei looked like he was holding back tears when he told them that. "Dad, did something happen to Sasuke?" Shino asked once he got home. His dad paused. He had always been unreadable, but at that specific moment, Shino noticed his father was unsettled. It took a long time to speak. "Sasuke's family, his entire clan was murdered. Sasuke was the sole survivor. Sasuke's own brother did it. I'm sorry I kept it from you, Shino, but even the Jonins are in shock." "What? How? Why?" "Nobody knows why exactly. I have to see him. I have to. He's my friend." "No, you can't see him now. There's an entire ambush squad watching over him. They won't let you get close. Not until they know Itachi won't come back for him. I also don't want you to be seen with Sasuke for now. If Itachi returns and sees you with him, he might kill you too, Shino." Shino felt awful chills. This Itachi was Sasuke's brother. The one Sasuke seemed to adore when he mentioned to Shino. How could he ever do something like that? Especially a brother. What would Shino even do if he was in Sasuke's situation? He couldn't even fathom what Sasuke was going through. Shino understood why his dad didn't want him to seek Sasuke, but he couldn't leave his friend alone. He commanded a handful of his insects to scatter and track Sasuke down before he went to bed. Shino was getting good at the Aburame clan hidden jutsu, so it was time to use it. The next day, he would talk to Sasuke before the academy started. However, when Shino woke up the next morning, his insects hadn't returned. Could he have lost control? No. Shino was sure he gave them chakra regularly. They should be loyal, and his commands were precise. The only explanation was that they were destroyed. Someone knocked on on the door. Shino left his room and saw his dad opening the door to a man wearing an animal mask and a cloak. An Anbu member. "What is it?" his dad asked. "Shibi Aburame, we detected insects scouting Sasuke Uchiha's location. They are undeniably from your clan." The Anbu pulled a glass container filled with insects. Shino's insects. "They're mine. I sent them to find Sasuke last night. I wanted to talk to him. He's my friend. My dad didn't know anything about it. He even told me not to do it. Please don't punish him." "I see." The Anbu pulled back the lid of the glass and the insects returned to Shino. "Please don't send them after Sasuke again. We had to move him overnight. You'll be able to talk to him once we determine it is safe," the Anbu said, nodding to his dad, and then he left. "Sorry, Dad. I won't disobey you again." "You're a good friend, Shino. I'm not upset. You followed my own advice. You tried to do something helpful and nice to your friend. But it could have gotten you in trouble." "Don't worry. You'll have to train a lot more before you can slip your insects to the Anbu." "I don't think I'll ever be that good." "You will. You'll eventually be even stronger than your mom." It took another week for Sasuke to finally return to the academy. Shino didn't approach him right away. He observed Sasuke during the day. Girls tried to talk to him, but he shut them all down. There was something different about the Uchiha. His eyes were different, filled with hate. Shino was not surprised. Sasuke was probably overflowing with anger. After classes ended, Shino went after Sasuke on his way home. He managed to catch him alone. "Sasuke, wait." Sasuke turned around and looked at Shino. His eyes were frightening. They sent a shiver down Shino's spine. "I'm sorry about what happened to you. If you need anything, you can—" "Don't ever speak to me again." Sasuke's voice was chilling. He turned away and left. So Sasuke wanted to be alone. Probably normal considering what happened. Sasuke probably didn't mean it. Shino would wait for a while and try again. Weeks passed, but Sasuke became ever lonelier. He closed himself from the rest of the world. Shino tried to talk to him several times again, but this only prompted more cold and frightening responses, telling Shino to go away. After failing consistently, Shino stopped trying. Sasuke truly wanted to be alone, which made Shino sad. He reminded Shino of the past eater roaches, which were destined to die alone. They chose to do so, even though they didn't have to. He felt a not connection to Sasuke because of it. They were both alone and friendless, but for two very different reasons. Sasuke could have all the friends but chose not to, while Shino couldn't have any friends, and yet he wanted to more than anything else. He thought Sasuke and him could be friends, but it just wasn't meant to be. Perhaps if tragedy hadn't struck Sasuke's family, they could have been friends. What made Shino even sadder was the fact that Sasuke chose to be alone in such a difficult time. Shino was frustrated with his own lack of ability to approach Sasuke and make him less miserable in this situation, but Shino didn't understand people very well. His father was also at a loss about what Shino could do, so he just let Sasuke be, but always hoped he would find somebody to talk to again, like that day they practiced Shuriken Jutsu. Years passed, and as Shino predicted, he never made a friend in the academy. Perhaps it was a self-fulfilling prophecy, but Shino tried at least. He just never made it. Even though he trained hard, Shino could never surpass Sasuke's grades or graduate before 12. Because he graduated in second place, Shino knew they wouldn't put him in the same team as Sasuke, the top graduate. The senseis created teams to balance out the students. Shino's teammates ended up being Kiba Inuzuka and Hinata Hyuga. With time, Shino learned Hinata was a very kind and nice person, just extremely shy. Kiba, on the other hand, was unbearable. He was arrogant and thought he was the center of the universe. Things changed during the mission to the Land of Crystals. Sasuke was elected as captain, and he even punched Kiba for being a jerk to Naruto. Moreover, Sasuke once again decided to talk to Shino, asking about what happened in the city while he was away. Sasuke even chose Shino to go with a strike team to stop the Firestone Village landslide. It was a difficult mission, and Shino got very hurt, but in the end, they succeeded, and nobody else died. There was something different about Sasuke that Shino noticed during that mission. He seemed to be in a better mood, and had a more positive demeanor than he used to in the academy. Shino wondered if that was because of his new teammates. Naruto and Sakura actually seemed like they became Sasuke's real friends. Shino was happy for him. He almost approached Sasuke again after the fight was over to reconnect with him, saying that Sasuke trusts him enough to include him in the strike team, but Shino chose not to. Sasuke seemed happy. Naruto and Sakura were suddenly much better people to be his friends, and they knew how to interact with people. Shino would just make things worse. If Sasuke was getting better without him and wouldn't die alone, then doing something nice meant not interfering with it. The Chunin exams were interesting. Naruto humiliated Kiba, which compounded with the beating he took from Sasuke in the Land of Crystals. That humbled Kiba, and he became a much nicer person after the preliminaries. Shino and Kiba actually became friends eventually. So Hinata and Kiba were his first friends after their brief time with Sasuke. It was different having friends, but exciting at the same time. Shino passed the finals with no difficulty and prepared to fight against all of the opponents that he could possibly face, Sasuke included. But the exam was interrupted. Orochimaru attacked the Leaf Village, and Sasuke left the arena chasing the Sand Ninjas. Shino had to follow. The three of them could be a problem if Gaara from the desert recovered. Luckily, Shino overheard a suspicious conversation between the Sand Ninjas and decided to track them just in case. Shino gave chase. He needed to help Sasuke in that situation. He wouldn't let him die alone. Sasuke wouldn't be just another past eater. Shino managed to catch up to Sasuke, but that was just because the Sand Puppet user stayed behind. Sasuke and Shino spoke again, and Shino understood that Sasuke's mission was to get to Gaara. So Shino promised to beat the puppet user and catch up to Sasuke. They had a silent understanding, mutual respect, and at that moment, Shino figured they could perhaps still be friends. Unfortunately, Shino got poisoned and couldn't chase Sasuke after winning the fight. The poison would kill him, and Shino would die alone, as the Aburame clan curse dictated, just like his mom. But no, his dad actually arrived and saved him from the poison. He wouldn't die alone, not that time at least. Sasuke also thankfully survived. Naruto saved him. Naruto was indeed a more adequate friend. It would be better if Shino didn't do anything and didn't approach Sasuke again. But even if Shino wanted to, after the Chunin exams, Sasuke was rendered unconscious. Itachi had returned to the village and put him under such a powerful genjutsu, Sasuke wouldn't wake up. Shino felt worthless. Once more, there was nothing he could do, but he visited Sasuke in the hospital. "Nice of you to come by, Shino," Sakura sat in the hospital room. Sasuke laid in bed, close to her. "Of course. How often do you come visit him?" "Every day. I arrive in the morning and leave at night." "I see. I'm glad." "What do you mean?" "He found friends. That way, unlike me, he won't have to die alone." "What? What are you talking about? He's not gonna die? What do you mean dying alone?" "It's just how things are. I will die alone, but Sasuke won't. I am cursed. Besides, I don't have friends that love me as deeply as you love Sasuke." Sakura's face turned bright red. Shino noticed his remark embarrassed her and excused himself, glad that Sasuke wouldn't be alone. Weeks after that, when Shino returned to the village after a mission with his dad, he received the news that Sasuke left the village and joined Orochimaru, seeking more power to kill his brother. A team of his peers tried to rescue Sasuke and they almost died in the process, failing the mission anyways. Naruto even fought Sasuke personally but lost and couldn't bring him back, and Shino wasn't even there to help. They couldn't even take Shino because he wasn't in the village. Why couldn't he have been in the village? Perhaps if he had been there, the mission would have been different. Perhaps Sasuke wouldn't have been taken by Orochimaru in that foul man's hands. Another failure. Shino couldn't stop failing, and Sasuke indeed seemed to be destined to die alone, just like Shino and the Aburames. But not because of a curse, rather because he wanted to. Shino just couldn't accept that. Even if that's what Sasuke wanted, Shino wouldn't allow it. He wouldn't allow any of his friends to be alone when they died. Friends. So he still thought of Sasuke as a friend, even after he left. Sasuke laid on the ground facing up. Kiba was on top of him and his claws entered his chest. They were reaching for the heart. The Black Death pain was still unbearable and his body couldn't move because of the curse mark damage. There was no alternative. He would have to give in to Orochimaru. It was the only way his revenge could ever be fulfilled. Sasuke reached into himself, searching for Orochimaru's presence.
Out of options, my dear. Don't worry, I will take good care of your body.
Sadness washed over Sasuke. He knew this was it. He wouldn't be able to avenge his clan himself. He wouldn't ever see the Leaf Village and his friends again.
Yes, Sasuke, we will accomplish everything together.
Sasuke felt Orochimaru overpowering his consciousness, but as he was about to die, a swarm of bugs flew at Kiba's hand, forcing him to remove his fingers from Sasuke's chest. The holes leaked blood, but Kiba was no longer reaching for the heart. Sasuke focused, gaining back control and forcing Orochimaru back to the depths of his awareness.
No, Sasuke! Let go! You must let go!
Kiba went in for another slash, this time to Sasuke's neck, but the cloud of insects formed a barrier around it, blocking the claws. Sasuke looked up and saw a shadow. He squinted his eyes, and the shadow took Shino's shape. Heavy raindrops hit him as he stood on a rooftop, clutching the side of his ribcage, no doubt because of the kick Sasuke's clone threw at him. "Stop, Kiba! Don't kill him!" Shino sounded exhausted. He panted but looked at Kiba with burning determination. "Do you know what he just did to me? And Akamaru? His allies just
They almost killed us!
But killing him in cold blood is not the right thing to do. It's not the answer. You're not thinking straight.
He has to die! He's a bastard! He's dangerous to everyone in the village!
He could have killed me and Lady Tsunade, but he chose not to. He could also have killed you, and he chose not to, Kiba. You're not a cold-hearted murderer. Remember, you even risked your life and Akamaru's long ago to bring him back to the village. Are you going to throw that sacrifice away now?
He doesn't deserve everything we did for him, Shino.
Kiba, please. I can't give you an order, but I can ask you as a friend not to kill him.
Why? Why not? Why do you have compassion for him?
Because he's also my friend.
Kiba remained still and looked at Shino in disbelief. He then looked at Sasuke with hatred, considering what he was about to do. Kiba stood up and retracted his nail claws.
Fine. Naruto and Sakura wouldn't want him dead either. It would be wrong to kill him this way.
A chain of chakra emerged from a dark alleyway nearby. Its pointy tip flew towards Kiba. Shino's small cloud of insects blocked it, and Kiba jumped up, alongside Akamaru to join Shino's side on the rooftop. The red-haired woman Kiba had killed jumped out of the alleyway and landed in front of Sasuke, who was still lying on the ground. She had chakra chains emerging from her sleeve. Her robes were slashed and stained with blood, but she had no visible wound.
I won't let you touch Sasuke! How are you still alive? I killed you! A tiny scratch like that's not gonna kill me!
Enough! No one is killing anyone!
Shino interrupted the argument.
We just decided to spare Sasuke's life.
But we still have to capture them, Shino. We can't just let Sasuke get away.
More chains emerged from the girl's sleeve.
I'm not gonna let you get us. Do you understand? You're not gonna interfere with our love.
Kiba rolled his eyes.
You're pathetic. We're definitely gonna capture you.
Kiba, calm down. We can solve this with diplomacy.
Fine.
You're a medic ninja, aren't you?
The girl nodded.
Heal Sasuke. I would like to speak to him, and he's in no condition to do that right now.
But Shino, we...
Kiba, please, let me handle this.
The chakra chains fizzled out, and the girl put her forearm in Sasuke's mouth. He bit it, and she moaned. Chakra began to flow from the girl to Sasuke. His wounds began to close, and the curse mark damage receded, though his body was still very damaged, and the pain from the Black Death was stronger than ever.
What the hell? I've never seen a weirder healing jutsu.
Neither have I.
Eventually, Sasuke rose, shaking Karin off of him when she tried to help him up. His whole body still trembled from the pain, and his expression was grim. Then speak, Shino.
Was it all true, the things you said in the atrium?
Yes. Well, except when I was reveling in killing all of you, because the curse mark took over my psyche in that moment. Sasuke's eyes met Shino's. There was a silent understanding. Shino wouldn't bring up Sasuke killing Jiraiya here, so as not to further rile Kiba up.
So the deal you offered Lady Tsunade still stands?
Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Why?
I would like to make that deal.
What are you talking about, Shino?
Kiba, trust me.
And how are you even gonna provide the deal, Shino?
Last night, when I was scouting with my insects, I found Kato's location. I can take you to him. You can acquire the information you're seeking. We will then let you go, and you will kill Itachi.
How do I know you're not lying? That this isn't a trap, like the other ones?
I think we're past that point.
Sasuke smiled at that.
In exchange for letting you go with the intel, you will swear to never hurt any Leaf Ninja ever again.
That will be a difficult promise if you keep on coming after me. But I promise myself and my team not to kill any Leaf Ninjas. Shino nodded.
And once you kill Itachi, you will return to the Leaf Village and go on trial for your crimes as promised.
Very well.
What? No, Sasuke, you can't do that.
Shut up, Karin.
Before we part ways, I will remove the Black Death's venom.
Shino said as a Black Death walked on his index finger. Huh, so you actually had a way to take the pain away then.
Of course, I wouldn't sentence you to death just like that. But in exchange for that, you will let me be present when you extract Kato's intel, so that I will know if it's something that directly threatens the Leaf Village.
Sasuke smirked, and Shino jumped down next to him. Karin raised her guard, but Shino ignored her and extended his hand to Sasuke.
Do we have a deal then?
Sasuke raised his weak, trembling hand and shook Shino's. We do. Karin, go back. But I should stay with you. Do as I say. Karin begrudgingly left.
Kiba, you go back as well.
I don't trust this guy. I have to go with you.
No, return to the others. What I'm doing probably goes against what Lady Tsunade would want me to, and it's your call if you're gonna tell her about it. I won't hold it against you if you report me.
Kiba let out a grunt, but left with Akamaru. Shall we go to Kato then?
Yes, follow me.
Shino jumped away and Sasuke followed him. They left Crystal City and began to head towards one of the surrounding mountains. Shino couldn't couldn't believe Sasuke could move so well while the Black Death's venom affected him. Sure, his body shook, and he was extremely pale, but he wasn't screaming or paralyzed, and he was supposed to be both. When did you find out it was me?
When Kurotsuchi mentioned Naruto's name, you turned your head slightly.
I knew it.
I got confirmation when I mentioned Sakura. Sorry about that. She isn't dead. They both care for you deeply, you know. You better kill Itachi and return to the village.
Don't start the lecture.
I won't. Just reminding you of the deal.
An awkward silence grew as they approached the mountain. Why are you helping me anyway? Sasuke finally said, breaking the silence.
I won't claim I understand you. If anyone says that, then they're lying. But I can try to imagine what it would be like to have your entire family murdered by your brother. I don't know what I would do, but the man who did that must die. And I believe you have the right to be the one to kill him. Besides, after seeing your display of power, I believe your assessment was correct. If Itachi is indeed as powerful as everyone claims, several Leaf Ninjas would die if we sent a squadron or even a battalion to go kill him. You are clearly stronger than any of us, so if you want to do it yourself, we can kill two birds with one stone, without wasting our lives.
I appreciate your logic, though you'll probably be in trouble. Kato is a diplomat or something, isn't he? He'll see you with me. Aren't you worried about the repercussions of that?
I'll just tell me you put me under a genjutsu if Kiba doesn't report me to Lady Tsunade. But more importantly, I'm just trying to do something nice.
They arrived at the mountain, and Shino took them to a large stone wall covered in silt.
It's beyond this wall. It's a genjutsu barrier.
Sasuke activated his Sharingan. He had gotten some chakra back to do so after Karin's healing. The barrier fizzled out, and they saw a blonde man wearing blue armor and carrying 3 swords. He had a scar down the middle of his face and was sipping tea from a wooden cup. He was sitting in this narrow stone alcove, carved into the rock.
Who the hell are you guys? I'm the one who sent you the message through the insects last night to postpone the meeting.
Oh, I see. Wait, why are you here then?
To tell you that the meeting has been cancelled entirely. You may return to the snow village shortly.
What? But I don't want to. The land of iron is messy right now with that rebel insurrection. Frankly, I took this mission so I could cool off for a bit. And who's this other dude, by the way? He pointed to Sasuke. Where is Itachi Uchiha? What?
I know you have intel on Itachi. Tell me or I'll make you.
I literally have no idea of what you're talking about, dude. Sure you don't. Sasuke cast an ocular genjutsu on Kato, urging him to talk. However, once his chakra entered Kato's eyes, his pupils turned red into a 3 Tomoe Sharingan, and the Tomoe fused, forming a sinister but familiar pattern. Itachi's Mangekyo Sharingan. Crows erupted from Kato's body, and they attacked Shino, shredding his body to pieces right in front of Sasuke. But Sasuke's face betrayed no reaction to Shino's death. Suddenly, Sasuke was no longer in the alcove, but in a universe of redness and swirling crows. The birds began to bite Sasuke, ripping pieces off his flesh.
You've gotten stronger, Sasuke,
Itachi said as his body formed from coalescing crows.
That jutsu won't work on me anymore. Is that so?
Yes, I know I'm under your Tsukuyomi, Sasuke said, not flinching at all while crows ripped pieces of his flesh away.
The pain these things inflict on me is laughable compared to the Black Death. I could withstand this for days. I knew immediately this was Tsukuyomi once the Black Death's pain faded away. This is the only genjutsu that wouldn't break immediately because of that pain, and it seems you cannot replicate that level of pain on the target. I simply programmed Kato's eyes to cast my genjutsu upon them receiving your chakra signature.
So what's your little plan? Are you gonna show me you killing my parents again, or are you just gonna inflict more pain? Because I guarantee none of those will work.
I will simply deliver you a message. Come to the southern land of fire. I will be there waiting for you so we can finally settle this for good.
The real world came back to Sasuke, and with it, the excruciating pain of the Black Death. Kato passed out in the middle of the alcove and fell backwards.
I got what I came here for. I take it this is when we part ways, Shino.
He didn't answer Sasuke. His gaze seemed distracted. Shino?
Yes,
he said, almost as though he woke up from a trance. Did anything happen to you?
No, I was just shocked with this ominous chakra oozing from Kato.
That was the message from Itachi. I'll be able to find him with it.
I see. Come here, let me take the Black Death venom off.
Shino said, pulling an ant. No.
What?
I will accept this venom and endure it. If it kills me, then I never had a chance of killing
Itachi anyway.
But that's insane. No one has ever survived the 24 hours it takes to wear off.
So you've told me. I will be the first one. It will be good training.
How can you withstand this pain, Sasuke?
This pain isn't even close to what I felt that night. I'll be fine. Sasuke paused and looked down. Tell Naruto and Tsunade that I'm sorry for Jiraiya. He then dashed away, leaving Shino behind. Eventually, he arrived at the mountain peak where he left Kiba and Akamaru with Suigetsu and Juugo. Karin was hiding behind a rock close to the alcove as Juugo pummeled Suigetsu, screaming that he would kill him. Suigetsu seemed dazed as his body kept on exploding into water. Calm down, Juugo, Sasuke said, looking at him, and his curse mark patterns receded.
I'm sorry, but this time it wasn't my fault. It was Suigetsu's. He was taunting the prisoner, and I lost control because of it.
You're an idiot bastard, Suigetsu, Karin said, coming out of hiding. Oh, come on, Juugo, you didn't have to rat me out. Besides, you punched me for like 5 hours.
That wasn't even half an hour.
This doesn't matter. We're leaving at once. Karin, I will require constant healing during our travel. The curse mark took a toll on my body. Of course, Sasuke. So you got Kato's intel, I suppose? Yes. Itachi will be in the southern land of fire. There, we will have our final battle. We must move there at once so the leaf doesn't have a chance to track us. Sasuke tossed the executioner's blade scroll at Suigetsu, returning the sword. Suigetsu beamed at it.
Are you alright, Sasuke? You look pale, and you're shaking.
Yes, I'm fine. Let's go. Shino found the Leaf and Stone teams together in Crystal City. They were speaking to officials from the Land of Crystals, warning that there may be a dangerous shinobi around. Though he noticed they didn't mention Sasuke's name. It took a while for Shino to say anything. He was shocked after what he saw in the alcove.
Lady Tsunade, he is gone. No one was hurt, and Crystal City is in no danger.
See? I told you Shino would solve the problem. Tsunade told Kurotsuchi. Do you know where he went, Shino? Kiba can't track him because of the rain. Tsunade asked, so Kiba hadn't said a word about what happened. He was a loyal and trusting friend after all.
He fled the city. I chased after him until he eventually reached Kato's location, the man he was looking for. There, he put me under a genjutsu and extracted Kato's intel. After that, he left the city entirely.
I see. I'm just glad no civilians were hurt. Tsunade was still weak, but Shino had to speak to her in private. He took her under his arm and ushered her back to her inn room, asking the others to stay back and take care of the formalities with the crystal officials. Now Shino and Tsunade were alone.
Lady Tsunade, Kato himself didn't have any intel, but he carried a genjutsu from Itachi. A genjutsu that affected both Sasuke and myself. But I believe Sasuke doesn't know that I also got a message, and I believe it was a different message from the one he got.
15 minutes earlier. Shino stood next to Sasuke Uchiha as he questioned Kato about Itachi. To Shino, it really looked like Kato was clueless, not lying about him not having any intel on Itachi. So Sasuke cast a genjutsu on him. Kato's eyes immediately changed to a weird-looking Sharingan. Kato leaped from his sitting position with blinding speed and decapitated Sasuke. Before Sasuke's head even flew away, he had already reached Shino and impaled his heart with his sword. The pain was horrific, and Shino was dying. Sasuke, on the other hand, was truly dead. But how could this happen? Why was Kato so aggressive?
You are an Aburame, aren't you?
Kato said with a cold voice. It was genjutsu. It had to be. Kato was too fast. Sasuke and Shino weren't even able to perceive his movements. If Kato was truly this powerful, then he would be a famous ninja, just like the Yellow Flash. But if Shino was under a genjutsu, his bugs would break him out of it immediately. However, Shino remembered Kakashi's intel on Itachi. He could cast a genjutsu that altered the target's perception of time. The genjutsu would last for a mere instant in the real world, but for the target, it would feel like days. The same genjutsu he cast on Sasuke, which rendered him unconscious for weeks.
You are Itachi Uchiha, aren't you?
Shino spat blood, feeling the cold steel still piercing his heart. Kato smirked, and his appearance changed to Itachi's.
I will fight Sasuke in the southern region of the Land of Fire.
Shino was bewildered. Why was Itachi telling him that?
I have unraveled the secrets about the power of the Uchiha clan. Once I kill Sasuke there, I will become more powerful than Madara Uchiha. I will get a power so formidable, no creature on this planet will stand against me.
The scenery changed around Shino. He was in the Leaf Village. It burned and was completely destroyed. Mountains of corpses surrounded him. He saw his dad, Kiba, Hinata, Kurenai Sensei, Lady Tsunade, and everyone he knew from the Leaf Village Village, dead, staring at him with brightless eyes. With that power, I will destroy the Leaf Village and the Land of Fire, and then I will wipe out every single living being there. Stop me if you dare, Leaf Ninja. Send the strongest ones you have against me. Give me a good fight, Itachi said, sitting at the peak of the tallest mountain of corpses, right on top of Sasuke's corpse.
Why would you warn me about that? Why would you want us to be prepared?
To measure my capacity. The world turned back to normal, but Shino was shocked. He didn't even realize Sasuke was talking to him. Shino decided not to tell Sasuke about what he saw. They had already agreed to a deal, and Shino wouldn't go back on his word, but he would inform Lady Tsunade about Itachi's threat. The Hokage didn't seem shocked after Shino told her about what happened in Itachi's Genjutsu world. He's an insane psychopath. It's not surprising that he would want us to go after him with all of our strength and then revel in killing us.
It could be a trap, Lady Tsunade.
Perhaps. Then again, we won't let Itachi roam free in the Land of Fire. I'll make sure to send our best ninjas after him. If he thinks he can steamroll our entire village with some bullcrap new power of his, then he truly underestimates us. Shino nodded.
Sasuke, before he left, he told me to tell you that he was sorry about Lord Jiraiya.
Tsunade scowled. Jiraiya is not dead. I refuse to believe he would be killed by a brat like that. We'll rest here for a day until I recover my strength, and then we'll dash back to the Leaf Village and find Itachi Uchiha. Watch the next part of the rewrite right here. Subscribe to the channel and ring those notifications so you always know when the videos come out. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it. I mean, if you got until this point of the video, it's been 3 hours or so, so definitely give me a like, and thank you so much for watching.